Spinny, we're live. I have just barely gotten the tweet out. Hello, Internet. Hold on, I have to yell at our Discord.
Okay, we're live.
At here. Live now. I'm announcing the stream to our Discord, as you must. Hello. Welcome to Fail Portrayal. I'm actually going to bother to introduce the video, because sometimes these get more views than normal for our streams. So this is Fail Portrayal, where we look at Yu-Gi-Oh! Cards and archetypes, and we talk about them. Sometimes we make fun of them. Other times we don't. Mostly we make fun. Today's episode, preface, this will be Starry Night, as you can tell from the title, and also Mutant, which you maybe can tell from the title. I'm not 100% sure, but it's in the description, so. And we're doing
that's
that.
why the name's that way.
Yeah. Instead of, Starry Night, Holy Night, it's Starry Night, Horror Night.
Put some nice thought on that.
Because all of these archetypes are very short. Like I didn't even build a like my usual list for these guys because there's so few of them.
One just has like a weird story behind it, and the other one's just kind of a theme. Guess which one's what? There.
Okay. Shoot. I think the
Am I kinda quiet on the stream?
Wikipedia. I don't think so. Let me check what your volume level is on Discord. I'm not listening to the stream, so I don't know. You might be? I don't know. My chat, let me know how the audio balance is. Desktop audio is where it usually is, but obviously that audio mix includes both Axe and the bed music. Let's see. Axe was at 90. I can push him to 99 because getting exactly 100 is hard. All right. Okay, Wikipedia is not fully fixed yet, so I think I need to go to the Yu-Gi-Oh! Fandom Wiki to actually grab the full list. I probably should have prepped my normal notepad list as well. Listen, guys, I was playing Resident Evil 4 Remake, okay? Please go watch our RE4 Remake stream. Because Lucky played it for a lot of hours last night. But I've done it again. How... When I want to go to Fandom Wiki, I don't go there. Curse you, Internet. All right. Starry Knights with the Knight. Because that is technically the archetype is spelled. And yes, this is a weird archetype. We'll discuss more as we get in there. Axe is also muted up, so I'll vamp for a sec while Loth finishes firing up and Axe does whatever he's doing. Starry Night is very weird, as Chad has just said. It's kind of what you would hope Konami does for legacy support. They took a slightly iconic, kind of rare, this was a promo originally, the card you're seeing on screen, Seiryu. It was, originally released as a promo card for a video game, and it's gotten, only a handful of releases since then. It's kind of an oddball rare card, and it's a vanilla, so it's like a classic jank vanilla monster. And they tried to build a support archetype around it, and it works, but it doesn't do enough to be relevant in the game. I'm pretty sure Seiryu is in the anime, so his mouth line is here. I'll use the red pen for this. I'm pretty sure this is his mouth line right there, chat, if you can see it. Sorry, I just jokerized him for a sec. I'm pretty sure his whole head is shaped like a blade, and it opens up. Yeah, Starry Night, I mean, I can tell you what Starry Night's game plan is. Starry Night's game plan is have a level 7 light normal dragon monster and summon it a lot, and bounce it to your hand, and then summon it. What does that do? But yeah, Starry Night is definitely one of those cases of like, man, this shit's weird. Like, it could be really good, but it's not. They've added a few in there to make it spiced up, and we'll show some other stuff, but it's just weird. It's got a weird thing on top of it. There's definitely some potential here they could have had, but they have not really exercised it. The second archetype we're going to be talking about today, Mutant, I feel like is the opposite. Mutant is a world premiere archetype, so that was on the TCG side first. And that one also, even with both waves of support, like, Mutant has some cool options, and I know it had a little bit of gas when the first wave was shown. I know that, like, MBT took a crack at it on 10-minute testing. I saw some other Yu-Gi tubers talking about it, you know. Stuff like that. But it didn't really have the complete gas. Like, even with a couple of fusion monsters in the main deck, boys, the design of Mutant is way too hit or miss. When Axe gets back, or if Axe does get back, I don't know. He might have to, you know, juggle in and out for some stuff. He said he has plans. When we get to Mutant, we may or may not discuss this, but I will mention it at least right now off the top. He and I have both talked about this when I went through that solo mode. What Mutant really needs is a built-in trade-in effect, either on their field spell or their monsters or something, because, like, the deck demands you play bricks, and it has no way to fucking get rid of them, and it sucks sometimes. Especially because you need the little boys, the little lads. Loth in the private Yu-Gi-Oh chat. I almost said YouTube chat. No, it's not a private chat for YouTube. It's the exact opposite of that. He's drawn a comparison with Starry Knight also to Phantasm Spiral. I feel like Starry Knight, however, is way less rogue viable than Phantasm Spiral. You can go to locals with a good Phantasm Spiral deck as an anti-meta pick, and you will clock some fools. Some people are just not prepared for it. I don't think Starry Knight has that game plan. But yeah, as enough people have filtered in, this is Seiryu. This is the original guy. And so the reason why in Japanese the Starry Knights are originally called Hori Knights, we try to avoid that still in the TCG, just to be safe. These guys are from Selection 10. They're named with the L suffix to kind of compare them to angels, and I believe they are all fairies, the actual Starry Knights. But they need level 7 light dragons to do stuff. But they decided to make this Christmas themed, basically. That's the entire metaphor of the solo mode that they star in. Seiryu is, 2,500 attack. The original attack and defense of the total attack and defense of the original block of Starry Knights equals 2,500 as well. And also Christmas is the 25th. So, like, it's a real cute attempt to do, like, a seasonal archetype, but in, like, a really not that cool way. It doesn't make me think Christmas. Oh, I'm gonna summon a giant scary dragon. Oof. That's not good. Technically, yes. I believe Selection 10 was released in the Christmas times. Yes, in Japan, Selection 10, the pack this was originally from, released in early December. That also included some vampire guys we met, like Vampire Vovoid, Dracula. But yeah, the Selection 10 was released in December as well, so I guess that kind of makes sense. They kind of went for like a gag, a goof. There's some cuts there. But yeah, this is Seiryu. As I was mentioning earlier, the reason why the guys are called Holy Knights in the OCG is because originally in the OCG, Seiryu is called Hori Knighto Dragon, literally in English, Holy Knight Dragon. This was very early in Upper Deck's tenure with the game, where they would often take these cards that were very obviously meant to be English or English phrases and would just flip them to be all Japanese. So, it's Seiryu. It is a Holy Knight Dragon. Inpachi's a Wicker Man. I don't know what you're talking about, Loth. Also, you could make some of these jokes so the audience can see them and not just me. But yeah, so that was one of the classic Upper Deck Entertainment flips, going from Holy Knight Dragon to Seiryu. It's very interesting, by the way, they did not do this in reverse. because Serpent Knight Dragon was called Ebro Knight Dragon, Evil Knight Dragon. They decided to keep it Serpent Knight in English. I'm not really sure why exactly they went that route. Maybe because Ebru Knight, Evil Knight, was like all one word over there. They definitely changed the knight from one with a K to another. So I need my Krampus equivalent. We need the Dark Knight guys, the Evil Knights, whatever you call them. There's that untapped support potential. But yeah, Seiya Ryu, this is, I'm pretty sure, if not a Kaz original, a Kaz adjacent. It's derpy as fuck. Look at this guy. He is covered in blades. He's got weird hand, arm, feet things going on. Like, his entire head is like just 4 axe blades in a trench coat. He has like a fan tail, but it's vertical, so it's not a fan. Like, he's a fucking sword chicken dragon man. I don't know what the hell's going on with this guy. And for being holy, his eye is evil as fuck. Look at this eye. Look at this. Look at this eye. Look at this guy eye. Sinister. Don't know what's going on with him. Absolutely would have to kill like 4 of these guys to do an early level Dragoon quest. Whomst be? Alright, it's time to eat the super. Nope, don't you look at me on reds. There are no on reds, Discord. I'm working. But so this is the original Seiya Ryu. Obviously, he is compliant with a lot of the archetype support from Starry Night, but not really necessary. The big one, the actual like retrain we got for this, is a different one, and we'll pull that one up because it's the centerpiece of the archetype. Also, not technically a Starry Knight. Shit. This is still broken on Wikipedia. They're still recovering, but the internet has given me the card art real quick. By the way, this up... Oops, that's right, I still have my red pen out from when I Joker-fied Seiya Ryu. This upcoming guy has an animation in Master Duel. That's pretty funny. So this is, in English, Starry Knight, Starry Dragon. You know, we're doing puns here. In Japanese, this card was Seiya no Kirameku Ryu, the dragon sparkling in the Holy Night. So, doing better with some of the translations, but still kind of a weird guy doing weird things. I honestly think grammatically this works much better in other languages. Because, like, in Italian, this is Notte stellata, drago stellato. You know, in Spanish, it's, or actually, no, Portuguese has no particle. In Portuguese, it's Noite estrelada, dragão estrelado. Like, it's got kind of like the assonance, the alliteration, like the first syllables match because they're reversed like that. Whereas Starry Knight, Starry Dragon doesn't have the same poetic license in English.
Honestly, also I'm back. I had to go find my credit card. That whole thing. But this just I'm sad I wasn't here earlier, but we'll talk about mutants when we get there later.
Yeah, we'll
because I'm not going anywhere actually today. But this looks like, honestly, it just makes me think of like Stardust Dragon mixed with like that rank, the rank 8 that does the targeted Omni protection. That Christmas version.
Yeah.
It just reminds me of like that kind of dragon, but also like that kind of like slightly humanoid kind of shape of, what was the name of him? You know what I mean? That rank 8. I can't remember his name, but
it's one of the Felgrand cards. The problem
it's Felgrand. Yeah, Felgrand.
Which problem remembering which one is that? Divine Dragon?
I think it's Divine Dragon Felgrand because it's the rank 8 Felgrand.
Yeah. there's several different Felground cards,
It's
several
got
of which,
that kind
by
of
the way,
feeling.
work in this deck, which is weird, but yeah. No, I understand that. Looking at this guy, and actually, Hal, let me go back and grab Sayryu's art again, so we can do a side by side actually. Because on the one hand, obviously the color palette is slightly different, you know. They've gone for a different coloration, but and let me make sure to scooch this over a little. Like, I literally made this meme and posted it about 1 million years ago. When this dark type was first shown off. You know, be careful of who you make fun in high school, because original Sairyu, very derpy, very angular, very weird. But Starry Knight, Starry Dragon is like very modern Yu-Gi-Oh! He's still got the beak-like quality to the face and got the same eye shape, but now it like flows a lot better. You know, it's drawn with more detail, so it works. Actually got like its limbs posed in different positions, so it's a little more humanoid, it's a little more flexible. He actually has a tail under that weird back, you know, fan thing. So still looking very metallic, very shiny, but you know, is I will also it's you know, it was Holy Night Dragon.
What my brain immediately goes to is like we go from PS1 polygons to like current gen 3D model.
Well, you know, it was about 20 years between these two cards being drawn, so yeah, kind of.
Same time difference, yeah.
Yeah. So our technician is advanced. And I should say, I mentioned its core stats later, but to refresh everybody, the original Sairyu is a normal light dragon. It's level 7. It's got 2,500 attack. It's also got 2,300 defense. Its flavor text states simply, a mystical dragon that burns away the unworthy with its mystic flames. Pretty normal vanilla flavor text. So, yeah. They managed to turn that into a full-bodied boy in Starry Night, Starry Dragon. Because that is another light level 7 dragon. Same stats, 25, 23. If this card is normaled or special summoned from the hand, target a card on the field and destroy it. Sorry, target on the field, semicolon, destroy it. Can it be destroyed by battle with Dark Monster or by a Dark Monster's effects? Once per turn at the start of the damage step, if this card attacks an opponent's monster, you can banish that opponent's monster until the end phase. Also, this card can make a second attack in a row. So, on paper, Starry Knight, Starry Dragon should be good. It has a very limited form of protection, but still, being anti-dark meta could be a very bold pick depending on the time frame, right? You know, dark decks have off and on been very popular. When it's summoned, it turns into a pop. I believe none of these effects are once per turn. So if you can keep special summoning or normal summoning it, you get more pops. It's only got a soft once per turn on its banish effect. So if it attacks, you can banish the monster at the start of the damage step if you're attacking to get it out of the way and attack. So you can go for direct attacking, etc. So it's not awful, but for being the centerpiece of a whole-ass archetype, your monster being, you know, ace monster stats, you know, 25, level 7, okay. Your entire archetype's based around summoning level 7 dragons. That's better, but a pop, a protect, a very situational protect, mind you, can't be destroyed by battle with dark monsters and can't be destroyed by dark monster effects. Doesn't even have can't be targeted by dark monster effects, you know. Which, again, to be fair, this is only the stats of, like, what we call an ace monster, like a signature monster, you know. This would be, like, the card that a protagonist in the Yu-Gi-Oh! Christmas movie always summons. But it is not quite the final boss monster of that guy. We don't quite have that yet. They do have another extra deck monster that we'll talk about at the end here, but I don't believe that rank 4 guy is, like, quite, you know, final boss material. But still, it's a decent put together, but I don't think it quite does, you know, enough to do everything you want. Which, as people have said in chat earlier, kind of goes into the fact that, like, Starry Night doesn't really have a great game plan. Your plan is mostly just summon Starry Night, Starry Dragon a shitload, and I guess that works if your opponent doesn't have protection or non-destruction removal or removal in the form of monsters that aren't dark. or attacks in the form of monsters that aren't dark, or effect negation. Basically, there are a lot of things that fuck over this dragon. And so, not necessarily a super lot of merit to getting in there, but I at least appreciate the artwork, they made an effort. They trying.
Yeah, just... it's always funny seeing the two of them side by side.
Yeah, I know. I like I said, I literally turned this into the "be careful who you make fun of in high school" meme. It's on my Twitter somewhere. You can go look it up.
Like, honestly, the left kind of reminds me of Ryu Kishin Powered.
Yeah, it's definitely that same era of, like, Kaz's artwork. Alright, so let me see if I can grab the card art, and we're just going to run through the actual Starry Knights in alphabetical order. In alpha-beta order. Because there's basically only, like, 2 blocks of them. There was one initial wave of support, and then I think there was, like, 1 or 2 cards released later. So, And then they, as I said earlier, they technically have an unreleased card. But this is our first one. This is Starry Knight Astel. As I said earlier, the actual Starry Knights, or the Holy Knights, all have, they're all fairies, they're all lights. All of them have attacks and defenses that add up to the 2,500. And they're all fairies. I think I said that just now. And they all have names that end in L, like the Hebrew word for God. Not the same as the name of God, but, the one that all the angels have the L in their name for. So, he's a knight angel boy. That's what he is. He's got some stars.
And he's got a green glowing star that might lead some shepherds somewhere.
Yeah. I mean, he's got a cool scarf.
It's very pristine and, like, crystalline, and, like, it's got nice texture to it. Either I don't really have much else to say besides the staff's cool, and like the helmet's kind of cool.
All of these monsters, I think, are drawn very, very clean, very crisp. Makes sense. They're angels. They're up in the night sky. Speaking of which, that night sky, beautiful. Very great work there.
Or holiday angels, actually, like this. That's a bit different.
Yeah.
The funny thing to me about this is it's not even a complaint when I say this. You could say this guy is many different types of monster. Like, you could say he's a spellcaster or warrior, and I'd believe it.
It's true. There could be some wiggle room there. But yeah, there's not really a lot to say about Astel yet. These cards were all first released in, late 2020, early 2021. They're very modern. Other than the fact that I think it was only because they are, in fact, the Christmas special archetype that could not even bother to give them a solo mode. You wouldn't really think of them as remarkable enough or nostalgic enough for a solo mode, but hey, we're here. So, Astel is, as I said before, level 4, Light Fairy, 500 attack, 2k defense. Quick effect. Target a light monster you control, tribute it. If you do, special summon summon one, level 7 light dragon monster from your hand. You can banish this card from your graveyard, target a level 7 light dragon monster you control. It gains 1,000 attack until the end of your opponent's turn. You can use each effect of Astel once per turn. So, Astel, kind of bad. You notice none of these are from hand effects, so you have to somehow get Astel on the board with another monster to tribute it to special summon a dragon. And then in the graveyard, well, actually, no. You can target itself, so you could just normal summon special, but then you're, down a guy. So it's got a graveyard effect, which is okay. Hey, you know what also does that, but better? Because you don't have to telegraph it? Honest. You're playing light dragons. Well, you're playing light dragon. You would just play 3 copies of Honest in this deck, and that would be infinitely better than Astel.
Meg, I have an important question.
Yeah?
How many names are there?
How many names are there? Let me check exactly.
Because if you're running a Starry Knight, you might just also run Honest as well.
I mean, you do absolutely, because some of these
so you
guys
just
are
have
bad.
more Honest types. You just now have a pseudo.
I mean, here's the thing. I think you would just run Honest and not run Astel. There's no reason to run Astel.
Oh, he doesn't. They don't even have like recurrent search effects between each other.
I mean, they do. You can chain some summons together, but I feel like there are other more productive ones. Okay, there it is. Like, lost my...
I remember when we like before
One,
we
two,
never
three.
got to this. I'm still curious what the actual like end game of this entire archetype even is.
I mean, technically, I showed it. Your end game is just get Starry Knight, Starry Dragon into play and summon it a lot and bounce it to your hand a lot. Because that's kind of how a lot of their spell traps interact. You are either returning a light level 7 dragon to your hand, or you are summoning a light level 7 dragon from your hand. So Astel gives you a special summon by tributing it or another light, and in your graveyard, it can give you an attack modulation. Again, with the way this deck works with like hand stuff, you're better off just playing Honest. Also, there are technically 5 names. So you may still run some number of Astels just to get more names because there are only 5 of them, but he is definitely not, I think, your first choice. So let us grab the next one in this list. And keep in mind, I think there were only 3 or 4 names originally. Yeah, the next one we're about to pull up was released later in Lightning Overdrive. Because what doesn't Lightning Overdrive have, chat? Okay, all right. I'm gonna need everybody to brace, because I think chat will be able to tell my immediate thoughts when this guy shows up on stream. This is just a Digimon. This is just a level 4 Digimon. Like, I don't claim to know a lot about Digimon. That's what this guy is. He's got, like, a weird mask. He's got wings. He's got a weird, noodly, padded body with, like, biker boots on?
I can see it. Oh, yeah, Crystal. Yeah. I see it. I need off contact. Yeah, no. Clearly a Digimon.
Yeah. I think he's got a neat axe. There's not a lot else to say about this man. Other than he's got a lot of triangles.
I don't know why the pose is just like weird. It's like he's in a motion, but
this is some... I would be remiss. Dallas isn't here yet. We'll see when he stumbles in. But I'd be remiss if I didn't say this guy's also got some Clamp Noodleman energy.
Yes, very much so.
He is very noodly.
Like, legitimately, like his legs and arms are just like weirdly long.
I do think he's got some interesting asymmetry because he's got like a dragon, head skull thing, shoulder pad over here, and on the other half, he's got purple on that side and green on this side. He's got a big flowing cape. It's interesting. But yeah, this guy's just very generically anime. Like, it's weird how, like, Astel at least was just like, okay, this is a knight guy. He's kind of polished. Seal is just, hello, I am anime man.
Yes. You know what really sells it for me? That this guy's generic anime man? I don't know why, it's the helmet.
Yeah, the helmet's very, very weird and anime flat. So, this guy's another level 4 light fairy. He's got 1700 attack, 800 defense, adds up to 25. Almost said 24. That's wrong. If this card is in your hand, you can return 1 Starry Knight monster or 1 level 7 light dragon monster you control to your hand, except Seal, special summon this card. If you control no monsters, banish this card from your graveyard, special summon a level 7 light dragon monster from your hand. Each effect is only once per turn. So, Seal is another way you can cycle monsters. You can cycle your light dragon back to get him out. If you have summoned a Starry Knight that no longer does anything, I do believe at least one of them has an effect that executes on normal summon, for instance. You can special him out for an extension to get that guy back, reload your summons. It's interesting, and it definitely says a lot that this is the card that they added, like, second wave, in Lightning Overdrive, to just be like, this is what the deck needs. I don't think this is what the deck needs. If anything, the graveyard effect is probably the best, but it explicitly requires you to control no monsters, so that can't really accelerate your game plan. That just seems like a recovery tool for if your opponent manages to get rid of all your light dragons. That one's not even a quick effect either, so it's just... Okay, cool. You can Cyber Dragon a level 7 Light Dragon. Neat. I feel like Konami were maybe trying to hold back too much with these Starry Night cards. They were afraid there would be some kind of epidemic of light level 7 Dragon decks, and it just never happened. There aren't that many targets. There's like 2 normal monsters, which let you do shit like... actually, what's the requirement on Champion's Vigilance again? Chat? Is it attack-based or level-based? Okay, no, it is level-based, but it is level 7, so... I guess technically, you know, between Seiya Ryu and Hyozan Ryu, another guy you can summon in this archetype, we might look at later if we've got some time. But it does give you, you know, solemn access to Champion's Vigilance as a Solemn Judgment target, which, I'm going to be honest, you might as well play 3 of and play 3 of the vanilla Seiya Ryu, just so you have more shit to do.
God, I missed the effect. I keep missing the effects, but I got called again. But outside that, it's like, God, this seems really familiar, but it's like, I don't know where it's from, but like that axe seems really familiar with something else.
We compared him, you may have been out, but we compared him to a Digimon earlier, and also I said that
I know, it's got
his
vibe.
noodliness gives me, like I said, Clamp character design vibes. Very generic anime.
I don't know why, but that halberd reminds me of like some halberds mecha have used, mostly just for how like wispy and bladed the end is.
It could be a reference. I don't know. To remind you what his effect was, Seal allows you to bounce back another Starry Knight or a level 7 Light Dragon from your field to your hand to special summon him, and in your graveyard, if you control no monsters, you can banish him to some special summon a level 7 Light Dragon. So he's kind of a resetter extender, but has some very strict limitations there.
Yeah, it's weird.
It's not free, so it doesn't really like actually extend your plays. It just kind of resets your effects so you can do your combos again. All right.
Nope. Just realizing I set an alarm.
Okay, this will be a different, more interesting art, I hope. So, let's search up our next one.
Can someone remind me when it's daily reset in FGO?
3 hours from now.
Okay. Yeah, I just need to do a thing. I surprisingly got to make a phone call at that time.
Okay. All right, this is Starry Night Flamel.
Wait, hold on. Sorry, I had to lean into this guy because it's just like, does he have extra arms or?
He has weird little scarf things or capes on his pauldrons, which look like hands. Yes. I'm not even sure how many different animes this guy is, but this man's animes. Anime as fuck.
He reminds me of a Mega Man boss, like Mega Man, like an X style boss, he really reminds me of the character from like the Zero collection.
Yes, this is definitely like a Zero or ZX type guy with these sharp ear blades.
Yeah, the ear blades, and also just this is the helmet in general makes me think Mega Man.
Yeah. He's got giant pauldrons. That's another thing some Mega Man bosses have.
What is the name of the funnels that are not telekinesis based? They're like coiled to the Gundam.
Oh. You thinking of funnels or options?
Is it? Sometimes they're called bits.
It'd be bits, but like it looks like he has like his bits, like the things like on the end of his hanging from his shoulders be like bits. They're like just
or little fin funnels, something. Yeah, I don't know. This guy is like this guy is a mecha, but also he's a Saint Seiya, and he's a mega. Like I said, this guy's just anime as fuck.
It's like Japanese pop culture.
We do all these things in a blender.
I feel like he's got a few too many like Photoshop filter effects. Like his arrow's on fire and it's like sneaking all around, but also it's like a star. He's got like trigger stars.
It's just too busy. This feels like this would work really well if it was a 3D model.
This is one of those things that we talk about. Sometimes we call Yu-Gi-Oh art too busy. This is a little too busy. There's a few too many details and embellishments. He's got fucking Konami orbs in his bow. He's got wings, but he's also got these weird arm things and giant pauldrons and ear blades. And there's all these stars and shit around him.
Like, I've been looking at it, but I'm still trying to get my bearings looking at it. Like, that's the problem when I'm looking at it. I don't have a sense of what I'm looking at fully.
Yeah, I could see you getting lost in some of the details. Like, there's some shit I haven't even
It's like I'm
commented on.
trying
Like,
to see where goes what, and I can't tell.
Chat, what's that? What's this back there? Is that like his
think that-
quiver? His
I
bow
think that
holster?
is. I
His
can't
tail?
tell though.
I don't know.
I can't tell. I
Yeah,
don't know.
It's so weird. Anyway, let's stop looking at this guy and start
Again,
talking about
if
him.
this is a 3D model, it'd probably be very cool to look at.
So,
it's not,
Flamel is another Light Fairy 4. I'm pretty sure until they gave you an in-archetype rank 4, the other thing this deck was good at is if you wanted to do, like, rank 4 Utopia package stuff. It's got 1,500 attack, 1k defense. Again, the stat line, 2,500 adds up. When your opponent's monster declares an attack, you can send this card from your hand or face-up field, special summon a level 7 Light Dragon monster from your hand. Quick effect, you can banish this card from your graveyard, target a level 7 light monster you control or in your graveyard, return it to your hand. You can only use each effective Flamel once per turn, and only once that turn. So this is probably, out of the 3 that we've talked about, this is probably the best one. If your opponent's monster declares an attack, he basically gives you like a Gorz type or a Battle Feeder type thing, just like, let me throw out a dragon. And then in your graveyard, you can banish him as a quick effect to put a Light Dragon back in your hand from your field or graveyard, which can reload your card effects and help you recycle. So, still not the most optimal, but, he has an in-hand effect. And technically, you could call that a battle trick as well. If your opponent, there's a lot of cards in Yu-Gi-Oh! That work if you're only playing by the anime honor rules where nobody reads a fucking card ever.
Actually, it's different where it's more cards don't have text unless they're said out loud by the user.
I mean, kind of, yeah, but, like, I assume there must be, like, a rules reference document somewhere. But everybody's playing with full art cards with no descriptions in the anime, which...
Plenty of brush cards.
To be fair, having played quite a bit of Master Duel for, the over a year it's been out, sometimes it do be like that. People just refuse to read your cards.
Just so you know, I feel like the best example of this is, you remember the rank 3 that it's like, Poison Golem, I forgot the name of it, Acid Golem?
Yeah.
Its introduction is that, Shark steals it from I forget his name, but the character who has played Galaxy. He stole it, and then the guy just kept listing all the negative effects of the card for having 3k attack, and it kept adding it until at the end of his end of his turn, he then says you then take 2k life points. It's just he kept adding 6 different bad effects to it, which is if you could read the card, and if the card had any text here, he wouldn't have taken the monster.
Probably, but alas, alack, nobody remembers to pull out their Konami Neuron apps. But yeah, so technically, Flamel can do a little bit of a battle trick if your opponent is dumb enough to attack into it. You can just be like, okay, cool. I send him to the graveyard and I special summon a Light Dragon instead. Would you like to redeclare? But it's still not a great game plan. You may have noticed that this archetype doesn't revolve around you having much board presence. You don't have a lot of monsters. It's not ideal, what we would call that. All right. And now also, I'm going to say, our first couple names, pretty normal. You've got Astel, Ciel, or Shiel in Japanese, Flamel, which is an actual just name. Our next one is going to have a name. An anime-ass name. Because this is Starry Knight Portrayal. Orb! Look at it! Look at my orb!
Look at it!
Yeah. Other than the name being Portrayal.
Just
this was okay. I feel like I've seen this Astro weapon before. But other than that, it's fine. The helmet's kind of interesting. It's a little more reserved. I'm not 100% sold on the very bright pale yellow, but, we're trying. We're back to a simpler design. Which makes sense, because Portrayal way later. So this is the other name. So there were only 3 names in the original Selection 10 pack. This came out in Burst of Destiny. So, I see that my co-hosts are stunned. Flummoxed.
what do you even say about this boy?
I don't know. Orbitel, all the same stats as normal. 400 attack, 2100 defense. I'm waiting for them to do 0 attack, 2500 defense on a level 4. Come on, do it, cowards.
Yeah.
So this is the second time they've gone, oh shit, this archetype needs some stuff. So, quick effect. Target one light monster you control. Tribute it, and if you do, set a Starry Knights spell trap directly from your deck. If a face-up level 7 light dragon monster returns to the hand while this card is in your graveyard, except during the damage step, you can special summon this card. You only use each effect of Orbitel once per turn. So, this card gets around Ash Blossom, because Ash doesn't do anything if you set from deck. That is not one of the conditions it can block. Other than that, it's okay. I mean, it gets you access to your spell traps faster, which is where a lot of your good shit is, and we'll probably talk about the spell traps just because this is so short and so fast. And this actually puts a monster on your board when another monster leaves your board. So, like, you still have a monster. You don't have 2 monsters. God help you if you want 2 monsters. But you get a monster back. So that's okay. And it is a quick effect, so if, you know, you bin it to your graveyard, I don't know why you would. This is another thing I want to say. All of the Starry Knights have graveyard effects. I don't know how they get to the graveyard. Like, some of them have tribute effects, but that would require them to be on your board to be tributed. So, I don't know. Are you supposed to play card destruction in this deck?
It's confusing.
It's a little weird. Like, on paper, Starry Night should be a good archetype. Like, these monsters have graveyard effects, they have and field effects. Some of them have hand effects and graveyard effects, and it's like, okay, so it all works together. But then you go like, wait, how card get in graveyard? Like, are you supposed to play like in the OCG or Mastered, or are you supposed to play like Grass is Greener and do like a pile deck? Are you supposed to play like Starry Night Lightsworn or something? What's the play here? How monster get in graveyard?
Naturally, it should die and then end up in there.
Yeah, somebody said in chat they are too fair. Yes, Konami was like really reserved with these guys for some reason. Again, I don't know if that's because they were scared of like the trap card Champion's Vigilance, which is just solemn judgment if you control a level 7 or higher normal monster. So
your New Journey reference.
Yeah, I know.
Just because you have to.
Yeah.
The series is basically dying.
Well, it's because they don't get videos out.
I think it's also because the format's stagnating.
I mean, they only got a few years left. Once they maybe that's why MBT is not putting out videos. Once they catch up to 2023, I don't know what they do. You just pause it for a year.
I mean, Prague ended because they were like, okay, we caught up, we're done, no more.
Well, yeah. Again, that's when you're doing a progression series, you can't. It's over. You gotta stop. You know. All right.
But
oh boy.
Honestly,
okay.
I always about it. It's like they did their damnedest to make this one like normal monster playable, and it's, I guess playable, but not really good.
Yeah, it's Admiral. They tried. All right. Okay.
They made it playable. Playable doesn't mean. I mean playable as in the actual. It's
yes.
You can do it.
If you were playing Starry Night,
you put like professional playable.
You put Seiryu in your deck. That is true. You probably put Hozenryu as well, so you have a big defense. But, you know. Anyway, it's time for Starry Night Rael, the girl one. You can tell because she's wearing
oh my God,
big leotard.
It's just a fucking like holiday Sentai, but like cooler.
I mean, yeah, kinda.
It's an anime Sentai, so they actually have like way more unique designs.
What the fuck weapon is she wielding?
I think it looks like
a very.
No, it's got to be like a great sword, because there's no like the spear tip doesn't go past like her back there, so it's a sword, but it's magic because it's also doing a fire sweep.
She's also got like floating cycloak around her.
It's like a cross
because we can't cover up her hips.
Fuck it is. It's like a star, and it just doesn't. It looks like it would shatter.
She's got like I guess like body, and then has like a leotard, then a breastplate, which then has like the weird
yeah, she's got a tabard with like a heavy charm dropping down. Okay.
It feels just kind of weighty and unnecessary.
I don't like to like call out, artists for living their best life, but I feel like an executive decision was done here when this artist was early on. drew her with the high leg leotard, and the emphasis on the leg and the hip and the thigh region. And then the artist was like, these are too perfect, I cannot cover them up. So I must draw all of her armor out of the way. So, her, like, tabard thing with the weight on the end is bent out of the way. She's got the floating hip cloak that Axe talked about earlier. Actually, is that supposed to be the back of the spear? Is it a long spear? I don't know.
No, I don't fucking know.
It doesn't look like it lines up. Hold on, let me try.
Am I up with the fabric on her, like the back? It might be like the edge of her.
So let's draw a through line.
I don't think it lines up properly.
Yeah, no, it absolutely does not, because the angle for it to like line up at the handle is like down here.
No, it would line up with her hair.
Yeah, it must be like a hair charm or something. It's weird.
I think it's her, if you look to the right of her shoulder, there is like some wafting fabric with her clothing.
Well, yeah, she's got poofy sleeves and she's got like a shoulder guard thing, so maybe it's like a shoulder wrap that goes down because she's got a different. Again, there's way too much detail.
This needs to be a 3D model.
There's way too much detail in this.
Just the hair coming out of her helmet visor, whatever the fuck's going on, that's just making me giggle. Just imagining her hair is just covering up her eyes. She's like, I can't see. What am I doing?
That's gonna itch like a motherfucker.
Yeah, her bangs are coming down, but you can't see her face because all of them are like masked in that anime way. There's too much detail. Anyway, Rael, 1800 attack, 700 defense, all the other normal Starry Night shit. When this card is normal summoned, add a Starry Night spell trap from your deck to your hand. Hello, this is Stratos. There you go. You can banish this card from your graveyard, target a Starry Night monster in your graveyard, except Rael, special summon it. You can only use each effective Rael once per turn. So, hey, spoilers. Rael is the only good one we've seen. That's not entirely true. I think that they've got their uses, Orbatiel, skips, dodges, whatchamacallit, Ash Blossom. Like, Flamel has some battle trick potential. Astel is not super good. Seal, as a way, because it's only when she's normal summoned, as a way to reset Rael, Seal works, But, yeah. This archetype has had 2 support cards come out, 2 main deck monsters come out to give it extra names, and neither of them have been as good as we gave you as Stratos.
Honestly, I'm also checking, like, its spell traps, and it's like, man, this deck needs a mechanic where it gives your opponent a dark token. Like, honestly.
Probably something like that, but let's throw through some stuff. So
I'm looking at where it's like your opponent needs to have a dark monster, which is like there's no inherent way to give them a dark monster. Okay.
I don't think they've got a field spell, so that would probably be something you could do, like when you special summon a level 7 light.
Oh no,
dragon.
it's your starter spell requires your opponent to have a dark on the field.
There's something like special summon a dark token. But let's see. Do I want to just do these in alphabetical order? Or should we start with spells and move on to traps?
Oh, they do have a field spell, actually.
Oh, they do? Okay, well.
It's double summon, but only for 1 Starry Night monster or a level 7 light monster.
That's good, but yeah. Okay, let's do spells.
And if you launch something back to hand, you draw.
Well, we're gonna talk about it, so you didn't do the whole thing. All right,
oh.
let's do spells and start. Okay. I was literally, while you were saying all that, Axe, I was literally saying out loud, okay, do we just go alphabetical or do I start with spells and then do traps? We'll start with spells.
Sorry, I thought we don't.
We don't always, but there's literally there's one more monster in the extra deck who's not even
only
technically
5 spell traps, yeah.
Not even technically a guy.
It took me a second to realize what the fuck was happening.
Yeah, this is Starry Night Balefire. So this is Flamel and Astel?
I can't tell.
I think it's Astel's helmet. But anyway, they're shooting a fire arrow.
It's very nicely done.
Yeah, it's a decent action shot.
It looks busy back there where you can't even... At first glance, I'm like, is that just a smorgasbord?
But they've got a lot of stuff going on.
The fire has a weird effect where it looks like it makes you think of like a still motion 3D model.
The fire's drawn very well, very uniquely, but
yeah,
the other half of the card art's very busy. Anyway, so this is your Rhoda. Add a Starry Night monster or a level 7 Light Dragon monster from your deck to your hand. Then, if you control no monsters and your opponent controls a Dark monster, you can special summon one level 7 Light Dragon monster from your hand. You can only activate Balefire once per turn. So, as Axe pointed out, if you want this to do maximum efficiency, your opponent has to have a Dark. So, obviously, this makes it sound like this is supposed to be like a going second deck. You know, you let your opponent go first, set up, you're like, oh, you've summoned a Dark monster. The problem is that kind of anti-meta pick doesn't work. Unless, of course, like I said, they create the evil Night Dragon, the Serpent Knights, to be the fucking devil/Grinch to this archetype. The Satan Grinch.
The Krampus order. The Order of Krampus.
The Diablo Krampus. Snake Krampus. Colonel. That, like, summons itself to your opponent's field. Like that one, Destiny hero? Dark Angel, I think?
I don't remember. Obviously. It's also one people don't usually play.
Which, don't usually play, but our hero, Joseph Rothschild, a.k.a. MBT, played it to defeat a Runic player in a featured match in a YCS in London.
Honestly, when I think about it, it is really good for fucking up decks that need you not to have anything on the field, so that is not...
I mean, no, it's good for fucking up decks that don't link summon. It's good for fucking up spells, because that's what it does, is it negates the controller's spells.
That does just fuck up Runic.
Yeah, you don't have anything. But yeah, so, I mean, honestly, you don't actually need Balefire's special summon effect to be good. It's just a Rhoda. It adds a Starry Knight or a level 7 Light Dragon, which is, again, very generic, to your hand. Yeah. So if you need Starry Knights, it adds Starry Knights. If you need the Dragon, it adds the Dragon. That's perfectly fine. If your opponent has a Dark, it has an extra effect. You're almost never going to see that one, though, which is a little sad, but, could be worse or better. All right, so what's the next one? Okay. So, yeah, I can pull this up in small. I grabbed this card art, but this is the thumbnail, so you've seen it already. Starry Night Ceremony. It's just they're summoning. Okay, so it is a sword. You can see it right there. It's a big sword.
Big sword.
Anyway, you can see him up there. He's in the thumbnail as well. They're just calling forth the dragon. This is a continuous spell card. It says during your main phase, reveal reveal one light fairy monster. I don't know. I kind of don't like how they use just the numbers in this. I feel like they should just say A rather than say 1. Because I feel like it makes me want to say level 1 as opposed to like the way they've got like level 7 light here. It just throws me off there. But reveal a light fairy in your hand. If you do, add a level 7 light monster from your deck to your hand, and then put the revealed monster on the bottom of your deck. If you want to activate its card effect, you can special summon a dragon from your hand. You can only use one effect per turn and only once that turn. The only once that turn sucks, or use only one per turn. But this does let you hand fix a little if you have, like, I don't know, 4 out of the 5 Starry Knights, any of the ones you don't want to just normal summon. It lets you cycle one of them out to get a dragon. Cool. Puts it back. The problem is that if your opponent does anything to interrupt that, you don't get to use the special summon clause. Again, somebody in chat said earlier it's, too fair. But, there's a lot of weirdness. Yeah, they also... I too, saw... I don't know if they actually saw this, but I saw Danny, Luke Von Karma, post another Watching Dual Lives, and yes, somebody did the Ties of the Brethren play where you get to summon monsters of the same type and attribute, and so you just summon the Light Barrier statue off Starry Knights.
Ugh.
You turn a bad deck into a stun deck. Who could have guessed?
I mean,
but
listen.
Yeah.
Well, okay, so this is one weird thing about this is a tragic thing about Yu-Gi-Oh. But listen, when something doesn't work, and your deck's only like quarter good, you have to fill the holes with floodgates.
Until Master Duel tells you to stop. But yeah, so technically, I think Ceremony is good just because it gives you yet another special summon of a light monster, and while it does rely on your opponent needs to activate cards and effects, so you'll be able to react. The problem is that you're reacting by summoning a level 7 light dragon, so not great.
You know, one question.
155 other. Yeah, go ahead.
How does any of these cards like just beat opening Branded Fusion?
Oh, they don't. God knows they don't.
Branded Fusion came out way afterwards.
Well,
though it came out within the same year.
Way afterwards is not right, but
it came in like really relatively close to each other.
But the actual Branded Fusion, no, it was a year. It was over a year because that was in Albaz Strike, which was 22. Starry Night was Ghost from the Past, which was 21.
Oh, I thought it was a bit afterward. Damn.
No, no, Starry Night is several years old.
I guess I didn't see coverage of it till way later.
Well, it's because it came out from Ghosts from the Past, which is the set that nobody talked about except for being slightly nettled about Ghost Rare pull rates. I don't know. But yeah, I'm not even going to show you the card up for Starry Night Sky. It's just a Starry Sky. It looks good.
Yeah.
It's their field spell. During your main phase, you can normal summon one Starry Night monster or one level 7 light monster into your normal summoner set. You can only gain this effect per turn. During your turn, if it face up level 7 light dragon monster returns to your hand, draw one. You can only use this effect once per turn. So, let me check when this came out. Yeah, this came out core. I kind of wish Konami had held back. If this field spell was released like 4 to 6 months later, it would have actually done something for the archetype. And now as it is, this doesn't really do anything. Like, the double summon is cool. It does solve the problem I talked about, how Starry Night have very shitty board presence, you know? But fundamentally, getting an extra normal doesn't help you that much. You know?
Because it's like... I'm sorry to interrupt you a little bit, but all the cards I heard so far just sound like cards that support setting up the bit, but nothing actually to pay off that much.
Yeah, like even this just rewards you for setting up the bit. It rewards you for summoning level 7 light dragons and then bouncing them back to your hand, which is what like a lot of their traps and stuff are about. So like, I don't know, you know, okay, cool. They've got a built-in, you know, draw extender. What am I planning to draw? Raigeki so I can win the game? You know, I can't play Lightning Storm if I got this card face up. What do you want me to do here?
It feels like they designed half a deck and then didn't release the second half.
Yeah, it really is like that. So let me actually grab the card art for the 2 trap cards there, because there are 2 traps. A great sign when a deck has like 5 spell traps and 2 of them are trap cards, one of which is a continuous trap. You know we're going to be doing good shit today. It's Starry Night Arrival. The dragon is here. It's dynamic as fuck. Like look at this card art. There's fucking wheels in the sky. There's shining lights. There's the clouds in the background.
It makes me feel like it's trying to do like a synchro summon or an Xyz summon or something, but like it's trying to do like a festival summon.
Yeah, something like that. The wheels then wheels is definitely very very synchro.
Also, the dragon looks really humanoid, just the way its hands are.
Yes. So this is a continuous trap. Hey, guess what? You need this trap. During the main phase, activate one of these effects. Target a level 7 light dragon, return it to your hand. Special summon a level 7 light dragon from your hand. You can only use this effect of Arrival once per turn. So Arrival is your continuous trap, and it just lets you do everything. It lets you, you know, bounce or summon, depending on what you need. So you can bounce it on your turn to set up to summon on your opponent's turn. Which turns Starry Night, Starry Dragon into a interrupt, you know? Never discredit the ability for you to do a single targeted pop on your opponent's normal summon. When your opponent starts their combo, you just go, pop. It's good. The problem is, that means you have to wait a whole ass turn for this setup. And this is probably why Portrayal exists and works. Arrival is super important, because it only has 2 effects, which are either to return a dragon or summon a dragon. They are absolutely vital for whatever you need to be doing in this deck. You must bounce dragons, and you must summon dragons. I also do believe that you would play Winged of Giant Dragon in this deck. Winged returns a level 5 or higher dragon to your hand, and in return destroys all spell traps. So, you know, it's a good setup.
Yeah.
And then let's get the last card art out here. This is their trap card. well, the last in-archetype card art. There's one more to talk about, like I said. The OCG has a card coming out that's not quite a Starry Night, but very clearly supposed to be. This is what happens to all you sinners on the Starry Night. You get fucking blasted. It's Starry Night Blast.
I just like I like the fire. This specifically reminds me of. I think it's hit me now. It's how fire is like drawn or like made in models for like Christmas decorations or like Christmas dioramas.
Yes, that is probably intentional. I was gonna say it gives me almost like a children's book vibe.
Yeah.
But
and
yeah,
then the dragon came and burned everyone.
This is what happens when you fuck with Starry Night, Holy Night, everybody. When Kaiba steals Christmas, this is what happens. Your judgment is here.
I think the dragon is kind of humanoid because I think it's meant to be a person turned into a dragon or something. Like it's like Santa but a dragon, I guess.
I don't know about that part.
It just seems very humanoid looking because it's got like the way its body is just kind of like.
I mean, it's not that humanoid. Like its hands are still dragony. It's just that they actually gave it like
it's just doing humanoid posture, I guess. Yeah.
Well, he's not one of them true dragons with 6 limbs. He's only got 4 limbs. This is your other like super important card. Yeah, because he's got wing arms like a bat. This is another very super important trap card, which you require to play the game. When your opponent activates a card or effect, return a level 7 light monster you control to the hand, negate that effect, and if you do, destroy that card. You can only do this once per turn. Cool. But yeah, so Starry Night Blast is their negate. It's not even a counter trap, it's only a normal trap. It does return a monster to the hand, so technically you could play Starry Night Labyrinth. Those also have an excess of level 4s. You can do stuff. There's certainly enough space for it. Would I waste card slots on this? No, not even me.
Yeah,
not even I would play Starry Night Labyrinth, guys. And you know how much of a dumb sucker I am for dragons. That would involve too many bricks, unfortunately. It requires you to play cards that aren't normal traps that do things.
Gotta be bricked up.
Also, they are, they're light monsters, and the other guys are dark.
Bricked up on a Sunday?
But yeah, the card art for Blast is cool, and on paper the effect is good, especially with some of their spell trap, searching support, but it's another hopped, and it just doesn't do the juice, which is sad. Very sad. There's not enough juice in this archetype. So, there's one last guy. Let me see if there's even a, card art for this properly. I mean, because he's not even, he's not out in the TCG. I don't even know. Let me double check if he's out in the OCG. What set was this in? Yeah, this was a promo card for the structure, so yes, he is out. But that's right, chat. They didn't even give these guys a proper, a proper second wave of support, or third wave, technically. They've just given us a weird side card as a promo card.
Yep.
My internet's being very slow in loading.
You got a pity card.
This is very big. Hold on. This is Starry Night.
Oh, jeez. What the fuck is this?
Starry Night. It's bad. No,
like
it's
it.
bad. It's I don't know what this color scheme is. This hot pink on brushed brass. He's got the thing where he's doing a very Digimon thing where his arms are just his weapons, like he just has a shield and sword for hands.
Very pink face.
Yeah. Super long hair, and then got a really long, butt cape tabard, which is flexing to shape a tail for some reason. I don't know. I don't like it. I don't like it. This is very 80s to me.
Rejected
and,
Saint
sorry,
Seiya
I'm just looking at the stat line, and I'm like, you fucked it up. This is a rank 4 fairy, so obviously you can play it as your extra deck. Yeah, no, it's eye-searingly bad. I don't know why we chose this level of pink. I guess because Seiryu is kind of pink, but he was more of a pale pink, more of a coral. So this is a rank 4 fairy. 1900 attack, 1000 defense. Come on. You fucked it up. It should have had 2500 attack. Come on. Anyway, it's generic. 2 level 4 monsters. You can detach a material from this card, special summon a light monster from your hand. If this card's in your graveyard, except the turn it was sent there, you can target a level 4 light fairy you control, special summon this card, and if you do attach that monster's material, you can use each effect once per turn. So hypothetically, in Starry Night, this is a good card. It gives you a way to get guys in your graveyard by detaching them to summon any light monster, so that can either be another Starry Night or your dragons. And if it ends up destroyed in your graveyard, you can reset it. Why the fuck they gave this card has like first year of Zexal stats on a rank 4. They're like, oh shit, this card has 2 good effects. Better give him dog shit stats.
We've nerfed him into the ground, so there's no point to use it.
Yeah, like, again, literally, this just turns any 2 level 4 monsters into a light monster from your hand. I'm sure there's something you can do with that. As I said before, the only thing you did with Starry Knight's extra deck was maybe, God forbid, you ran a rank 7 package. Not really great because it's really hard to get multiple because you're constantly returning to your hand. It's really hard to get multiple level 7s on your side of the field. But you can definitely run a rank 4 package, and you ran generic lights, who's the light? Lina the light charmer. There we go. Found it. Hoshin Ningen. Yeah, Zed.
What you did, Zed, you missed out on the Starry Night archetype, and now you get to see this weird abomination to all that is holy.
Yes, with no context, you just get to see the end of the line. This guy, Starry Night. This guy's existence tells me, Konami really doesn't give a shit about Starry Night. They tried. This was a promo for the 4th volume of the OCG Structure manga. So the manga that is about actually playing real Yu-Gi-Oh! With real decks. God knows why they decided to include Starry Night stuff in there, but it's not really good. Basically, what these motherfuckers need is they need actual extra deck cards, and not just this guy as a generic extender. And to be fair, as just a generic extender for any light deck that plays level 4s, perfectly fine, you know? But this doesn't save Starry Night. What Starry Night needs is, as Axe brought up, they have a couple of effects which are based around your opponent controlling dark monsters. So they probably need something like a card that just says, like, special summon a Starry Night from your hand, also summon to your opponent's side of the field a dark token with 0/0.
Yeah, that would really help, honestly.
Because that would let them, like, get some stuff cycling. It's interesting. And obviously, like, that has its downsides, right? If you just leave a single generic token on your opponent's board, that opens up to all kinds of, like, link summoning or other tribute effects if you're not careful. So, you know, you gotta, like, immediately attack over it kind of thing. But it would give you more action on some of your card types. Shit like that. And I think we need an actual boss monster. Starry Night, Starry Dragon is cool. He still only has 2,500 attack and can only once per turn banish. Admittedly, I believe it's, let me double check, but I'm pretty sure it's a non-targeting banish is his on-attack effect. But he has, like, no fucking protection up until then. So, yeah, once per turn, start of the damage step, banish that monster. So it's a non-targeting, non-destruction banish because it's till the end phase. That's cool. They really need to make an ED version of this guy or, like, completely remake this archetype with more support. It's just... it's not worth it. Literally, as somebody in chat has just mentioned, is Rainbow... is it Rainbow Call? Sorry, the screen is tiny. Rainbow Cat. Sorry, my bad. You capitalized there, so it threw me off. My version of the chat window in OBS is very tiny. As they just said, though, literally just play Tellers. The Constellar and Satellar support in the year of our Lord, Winged Dragon of Ra, 2023. Way better. Way better.
It's
like legitimately, that's an actual like rogue deck you could play. You might be able to top locals.
What they should do is retrain, what is it, the dark version of the vanilla monster?
Yeah, Serpent Night Dragon. Who,
yeah,
by the way, is an anime guy.
release-
That's Rex Raptor's first ace monster.
And then release an XYZ level rank 7 that is a fusion of both.
That would be pretty cool.
So
Also,
I'm
untapped nostalgia potential. Sorry to cut you off there, Oct, but let me finish my thought. Serpent Night Dragon was in the anime. It was Rex Raptor's, you know, first boss monster before he summoned Red Eyes and stuff like that. Also, was meta in Speed Duels. I don't know if it was in Duel Links, but in Speed Duels, Serpent Knight Dragon was really good. There was a skill about it and everything. So like
it was like a rush beatdown thing, yeah.
There's a nostalgia there.
So I had more life stuff happen. I got called by my mom this time about other things, so I have no idea what any of this card is and what we were talking about afterwards. So please refresh me, and I was really curious what you guys were talking about.
It should burn in a fire.
It's very... Look at this card art. But what Starry Knight does to recap for you... To recap for you real quick, Starry Knight is a generic rank 4 Xyz light fairy, 1900 attack, 1000 defense. Detach material, special summon a light monster from your hand. If this card's in your graveyard, except the turn it was sent there, you can target a level 4 light fairy monster you control. Special summon this card and attach that as material. You can only use each effect once per turn.
Honestly, I'm amazed that this archetype wasn't given a rank 7.
Well, it's because as I said while you stepped away, the deck is not really good at keeping 2 level 7s on the board because you're constantly summoning them and bouncing them back.
Well, that's their problem. That's not the Yu-Gi-Oh player's fault to me. That's not the Yu-Gi-Oh player's fault. That's their design's fault.
Did you hear what I was talking to Omega about the possibility of them retraining stuff?
Vaguely, where you said like something that was combined.
Yeah.
Because Serpent Knight Dragon is also 7.
Huh.
So sadly, they don't have a rank 7, but they could. They literally could.
Yeah, they should just turn this into a Chaos archetype. That would be infinitely better.
And now
Chaos Christmas.
Starry Knight. I guess Starry Knight. What would be the good? What would be the way it's not just like Krampus? It's like Starry Knight.
I mean, so
like
it would.
Elful Knight.
I mean, technically, it would be in the OCG. It would just be Evil Knight. It would be Holy Knight and Evil Knight. You could probably keep the original TCG translation was Serpent. So Serpent Knight, so you could do like Serpent Knight as the reference, and that could leave you with Serpent Knight, as the other one. That might actually be interesting.
Yeah, you get Serpent Knights, and they're just dumb, weird, evil versions.
Oh, yeah, that's really tiny.
Yeah, they're just like, honestly, I guess they'd be like kind of like Gorgons and shit. Yeah.
All right, here, look at the mutant mat for a second. Because that's it. That's literally all the Starry Knight. Yeah, this was, I think, a promo mat for Phantom Rage.
Not much payoff.
Literally all the Starry Knights. It's a cute concept, and it was, as I said way at the top here, it seems like it was a step in the right direction for Konami Nostalgia Bait. Like, that was a good retrain. It just didn't have the mileage. Oh, yeah. Sorry, you weren't here at the beginning. Yes, I should say that. The card Seiryu, which obviously Starry Dragon is based on, in Japanese, that was just Holy Knight Dragon. The Starry Knights are called Holy Knights in Japanese, so it's a reference. In the OCG, Serpent Knight Dragon is called Evil Knight Dragon. And they just really guffed the localization originally. So, Serpent Knight Dragon is meant to be the evil counterpart of Seiryu. Like, they are like, have the exact same naming scheme, just one is holy, one is evil. And they're both level 7 dragons of the opposite type. So, like, yes, it's not, like, directly connected, but very obviously they have similar names. They're both vanilla level 7 dragons. You could absolutely, like, turn them into a thing, and Serpent Knight Dragon is another one of those old vanillas that is definitely, like, could be asking for some power there. And I want to say, we've talked about this before, I think the Gate, as a package, the Gate Guardians are way better. The foil printing is a little better, but it's definitely one of those things where, like, if they ever did a common printing, I don't know how they're going to color correct it. Because it's in foil, so it kind of makes the shiny bits better. But anyway, we're going to talk about Myutants. Yes. Myutants. Mutria. In, the thing there. So, this had a solo mode that was very simple. They're just a fucking, B-horror movie archetype. I love it.
Yeah, it was really fun, because it was like the first act and a half of a horror movie.
Yeah, and then it does the horror movie, like, what if clause at the end. So we're just going to do this in the rough order of size, basically.
From smallest to biggest?
Yeah, we're gonna start with the little guys, go through them all. You can see mostly the card art of MO5. I do also kind of like the naming scheme for these guys, but I'll just post the... Oop, that's still a little big. Hold on, resize. Still a little big. Here it is. I do like the naming convention for these normal guys. They're just named like samples. As somebody who's been on a little bit of a FF7 retro kick recently, it's very similar to the way like certain bosses and things related to Dr. Hojo are. So just like, yeah, M05C. M05C. Actually, hold on. How do they say this in Japanese? So this is wow, the OCG names, they go all out in because this is a role player archetype. This was originally in the TCG first. They went full ham on these names. In Japanese, this card, which is Mutant M05 in English, is Hikentai Mutoria Imu Zerogo. Test subject Mutria M05.
Oh, that's just a fucking kaiju name. Holy shit.
Yes, no, I love this. This is great. M0Go.
Okay, so like it's specifically like it's a specific kind of kaiju. It's like literally like the kaiju you'd see like specifically in like a movie, like specifically a crossover movie.
Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty sure technically the mutant story is a plot to at least one Godzilla movie from the 70s or 80s.
It's probably one of the it might even be I don't know.
Because like
kaiju Toku's not my actual expertise.
It led to
so,
Biolante or something.
Yeah, the Biolante one, the Smog Monster Hedora is another one. Also, Godzilla vs. Destroya, because those guys start small. They start as like, you know, person-sized gremlin men who just eat special forces guys, and then it turns into the giant monster that Godzilla has to punch. But yeah, like this is that kind of kaiju movie for sure. So, art-wise, not a lot to say here. Great, I mean, there's praise to be had. Great background work. You know, you've got some plants and some crystals and shit there. The tank and the liquid effects are very well drawn. The actual, like, style of the mutants as these little, like, not quite mineral, not quite organic thing they got going on, right? Very good. Also, by the way, it's not explicitly called out, but again, I've also been very recently playing, literally hours ago, playing RE4 Remake. This archetype is also Resident Evil as fuck.
Yes.
Very, like, 3 and, honestly, like, the side games more of, because it's... no, it's very 2. It's very 2, actually, very 2.
The Vendreads are much more in the traditional, like, Resident Evil space, and I think kind of, like, wrapping around to where, like, 7 and 8 went with their art direction. But, like, this is the weird, wacky bioweapons part.
Yes, this is you've left the city streets and are now in the lab.
You're in the nest.
Yeah, this is your last stage here. But pretty solid. Very great lighting effects, too. Shout out to these artists, whoever they may be.
Also, if this is already, like, this thing would not grow, this thing would, like, drill burrow into someone's chest and mutate them.
Yeah, no, I see that. This is like you accidentally shoot the tank and it flies out and it turns a normal zombie man into like a super freak and you're just like, fuck.
It becomes a fucking Regenerator.
Don't say that.
Regenerators are remake are fucking scarier and they look cooler too.
don't talk to me, motherfuckers. I hate those guys. Why are they they're so goopy?
Also,
they're like the fucking faceless ones from XCOM 2.
They will fucking swim at you.
No, I know they get everywhere. Ugh. I mean, I'm in chapter 15, so like I know.
Oh, you've seen them though.
Yeah,
okay.
no, I've seen the breadth there. I know how this works.
I love how they made all the spikes like actual like hair spikes. It's awesome.
Yeah, I mean they look cool. They're metal as fuck, but also they're so gross.
Just for you, Omega.
Oh, what do you got? Is there a funny GIF? Yeah, no, that's. God, I wish there was a lever that good in the remake.
I love how they did it because you have to like manipulate the power, and it's fucking like nerve-wracking.
Yeah, there's some atmospheric stuff. Hey, watch our RE4 remake streams.
Yeah.
There's going to be another one on Thursday. But there was one this Monday. Watch it. Anyway, yeah, talking about Destroy and stuff. Named like SCPs, that's a good one. The Mutant in the Tube is very Power Rangers. Chad has some great ideas. So I believe all the little mutants are psychics, I think. The bigger ones have different types. I think they're all water to start. But yeah, they're psychics.
Honestly, I kind of forgot that it's like literally their other thing is like, no, they burrow into devices and then made bodies out of them, which is like, okay.
Yeah, the way that the solo mode describes it is that the samples, the mutants, have the ability to absorb traits from anything they come into contact with, mineral, plant, or animal, and then that is how they become their different forms. So, M05.
It's kind of miraculous where it makes you think about if they exist in a previous life on the planet, it's like, did they just reach out because their planet got too fucked?
Well, that would also, the Genova tie-in.
They arrived on an asteroid or something.
Sadly, no mutant has an eyeball and a titty. There's two things you notice about Genova when you look in the box. One, she's got no fucking head. Two, there's an eyeball in her titty. Anyway.
Well,
M05.
Resident Evil, an eyeball.
M05 is a water psychic, level 2, 0 attack, 500 defense. I believe this was the original batch in Phantom Rage. Let me see. Yes, they debuted in Phantom Rage, so this is the original block. If this card is normal or special, add a mutant monster from your deck to your hand except M05. You can tribute this card, banish one card from your hand or face-up field, then special summon one monster from your hand or deck based on the banished card. If it's a monster, you summon Mutant Beast. If it's a spell, summon Mutant Mist. If it's a trap, Mutant Arsenal. You use each effect of M05 once per turn. So, yeah, M05, good card. It obviously shows you what this archetype is going to be doing. You're going to be adding mutant monsters, and then you're going to be banishing cards to set them up. So this one searches a monster on normal or special. It can tribute itself then also to summon one of your big boys. And I appreciate that it says hand or deck. You guys know that currently my big thing in Master Duel right now is Labyrinth. Let me tell you, sometimes the fact that Welcome Labyrinth is only from deck complicates things. What do you do if all your lovely ladies are in the graveyard or in your hand? Oops.
Suffer.
Yeah, basically. But I already don't need to suffer. I lose so many coin flips. How to make a Labyrinth player suffer? Make them go second. They cry.
Yeah, well, that's what I've had to do in a lot of situations.
Technically, you could run a variant with, I think, Stovey Torby lets you, like, have hand trap effects, but it's really not worth it most of the time.
Speaking of which...
Anyway.
Sorry, I just remembered something stupid, because I went on a binge streak of, like, finding gifts. I can post this one now, because it's Yu-Gi-Oh! Time.
Yeah, but I don't like Triff. He's problematic.
So then.
Alright, so we're going to pull up our next one. Gotta go to the images. Thank you, weird people on DeviantArt.
It's always DeviantArt.
For giving me these blown up images. This is ST46G, Mutant ST46. Or in Japanese, Hikentai Mutoria SOT 46. So.
Question, and I just had a thought. Is the test tube behind them like what the control substance that they're feeding the mutant?
I think that might be the implication. Well, Filthy Casual, big welcome's not in Master Duel yet. I also can't play the other lovely lady yet. Trust me, if I could play the real good lab shit, I would, but I can't yet. Anyway.
No, instead Master Duel wants you to have these other nonsense cards.
Master Duel wants you to play everything but tier. Joke's on you, Master Duel. I'm going to play tier. Fuck you, actually. It'll be a lot easier when it's automated. Anyway, this is ST46. Not a lot to add that we couldn't about the first one. I mean, I like the slightly different color scheme and the fucking JoJo-ass miasma here. This is a very menacing star creature.
Yeah, no, this is...
But there's not a lot else to add about this one, art-wise. The test subjects, the sample ones, are very, very samey. So, if this card is normal to special, add a mutant spell trap to your deck from your deck to your hand. Tribute this card, banish to do the same thing as 05. So, summon a mutant from your hand or deck based on the banished card. So, 05 searches spell traps, or 05 searches monster. Sorry, ST46 searches spell traps. All right, cool. There's your deck. That's all you need. No, there's one more. But because they realized a little bit later they needed a little help. This was the second batch of support, I believe. No, this is also in Phantom Rage. Okay. Right, no, the second one they added was Mutant. That was the second wave. So, this is our next one. You can no longer see much about it. You just know that it's GB/I. But this is GB88. Hikendai Mutoria GB88.
Sorry, what was the name again?
GB88.
GB88 has breached containment.
I mean, yeah, basically. I feel like even though they were different sample numbers, the small mutants were clearly building up. Like, one was a little, one was, slightly bigger and spikier and more menacing. This one is just straight up like, I'm free. And I'm coming for you.
Yeah, it reminds me of... Sorry, Love.
No, go on. What were you going to say?
This is kind of a weird thing, but it reminds me of something I don't think I can really mention that well, but it reminds me of a very specific thing of the growing horde that just wants to eat more of its own cells to grow stronger. Which is like, in a lot of sci-fi settings, it usually has a lot of the robots or like the super people are usually made via the cells of the monster, so it just eats those people.
So, Cell from Dragon Ball. Wow, the silence after that is deafening.
I mean, I was waiting for a reply. There's a lot going on here. Food. Christ. There's a lot going on here. This guy's very interesting because, like, obviously he's still got spiky bits, he's still got sharp bits, and some of these are kind of like root or vine-like, but then it's got like very neurological, like he's got like tongue tentacles and like fucking ganglia, like neurons going out. Like, it's a real kit bash. Dallas has sadly decided not to show up, and it's a shame because he's missing an archetype that I'm sure he finds really rad, but yeah, it's gross.
Yeah.
It's got gross stuff. So what GB88 does, it's they are all also water psychics. So this one's level 4. It's 500, 500. During your opponent's main phase, if Mutant Evolution Lab is in your field zone, quick effect, special summon this your hand. Discard special summon during your opponent's turn. Tribute this card, banish a card in your hand or face of field. Summon one of your level 8 mutant monsters that is banished or in your graveyard. You can only use each effect once per turn. So, GB88 lets you get your mutants back if they're in your graveyard or banished, which is the thing that happens. And it can special summon itself on your opponent's turn, for disruption if you have the field spell. So, yeah. Doing stuff. Doing things.
Stuff and things.
Yeah.
Things and stuff.
So, and then technically they added this guy later, but it's good to talk about it as well. Because they got another little main deck guy that was important. But this is what they started as. And hold on, this is going to be another big one. This is the aforementioned Mutant. So this is the original sample. This is looking a lot like, the black oil shit from X-Files. Lots of other really classic, like, alien fiction we got going on here.
Yeah.
Spotlight scientists, goop guy. But, again, great background work. But...
Yeah, no, like...
Good.
Mood lighting is really good in this.
So Mutant is the level 1 water psychic they added later in Battle of Chaos. So they were like, okay, we start at 2, well, we got to go to a 1, as the levels climb. If you control a mutant card, you can special summon this from your hand. You can tribute this card, banish a mutant card from your hand or deck. Special summon a monster from your hand or deck based on that card, but lose LP equal to the special summon monster's attack. So, and then it's Beast, Mist, or Arsenal. You can only use each effect once per turn. So yeah, Mutant gives you a fairly generic extender. It lets you get an extra guy out there. and it lets you banish from deck to get your big monsters out, so it sets up stuff. A very important additional card. And so, you know, good to add to the deck. It gives them extra tech, because it gives you, you know, specials. It gives you extra plays. So now we're going to talk about the 8s. I mean, they listed in this order, so we'll do it in that order.
I hate my apartment setup. People can't come to my house without having to fucking direct them to my neighborhood.
That's kind of normal, actually.
I don't know if it's normal, but I have heard of it happening. So we're going to talk about the 8 guys now, and we're going to do them in the order they mention, just because it's just the order we got. So this is Mutant, Beast.
Yeah, look at this boy.
I'm sad I missed the other ones, but whatever.
I was just be Mutant.
It's I can't. It feels kind of original, but it feels like I'm thinking of something else. But it's like it is also just like literally a menagerie of things in one form.
Well, yeah. The word you're looking for is chimerical.
True.
Because it's and it is very chimerical because it's got kind of like humanoid, but you know maybe reptilian hands. Though it's got opposable thumbs. It's got like an extra leg, but it's also got hooves. It's got like beetle carapace, you know, horns.
It's a quadruped, but it's also like
it's a pentaped.
normal like.
It literally has 5
because-
legs.
No, it has a 6. Just the arm is covering it.
Oh, is it actually? Well, I like to praise the artist. I will say that's a bad one there. They should have drawn this at a slightly further along angle so that you could see all 6 legs. I think you're right, because I think I can see the knee spike right here. That is a missed opportunity.
It's just the way, yeah, because you get the knee spike.
But yeah, okay. So he's Ultima Weapon shaped. Got it.
Kinda, yeah. It's like...
Big soft target. So,
yeah,
no,
good.
I like the view because it looks like he's got the beast mouth, and then he's got the mutant mouth.
Yeah,
with the eyeball sticking out of it. So
he's got a core.
Yes.
Which
you
is
gotta
spooky.
shoot it.
Yes, you gotta shoot him in the fuck me light, but also watch out. That's where the instant kill command grab is.
But
or when or it closes.
You can technically see that this is still a controlled lab environment because he's still got the. I can't tell what they are, but the things that.
Yeah, he's got like the EKG, the leads plugged in, so you can like monitor his
those.
biosigns and shit.
Is it going crazy, or is it more of this is controlled? I can't tell.
I think this is supposed to be controlled still. It's not until we get to some of the later ones that they're really freaking out. So, Beast is a level 8 Earth Beast monster. Only got 24/24. Not quite sure why they decided to go level 8 here, but, you know, it's... I guess it's because their highest is 4. So they're trying for some kind of symmetry. Anyway, Mutant Beast can't be special summoned except by the effect of a mutant card. So be careful about that one. Your opponent cannot target this card with monster effects. You can only use each of the following effects of Beast once per turn. When your opponent activates a spell card or effect, banish a card from your hand or field and negate that activation. If you do, banish that card. If this card that's under possession is destroyed by an opponent's card, target one of your banished mutant traps, add it to your hand. So you'll notice how, like, each of the big boys, the level 8s, is summoned by banishing a monster spell or trap, and so they kind of form, like, this triangle interaction. Beast is can't be targeted by monster effects. It negates spells. It recovers traps. So they kind of form this interesting triangle.
Yeah.
Depending on the deck, Beast is kind of hit or miss. I mean, like, while it's only once per turn, you do get to plus or at least manipulate being banished. And it does say banish from hand or field. So, like, a once per turn spell negate can be pretty good. It can also be not good depending on what your opponent does. For instance, if they're playing Runic and all of their cards are instant fusion, it doesn't fucking matter which one you negate.
Yes.
What I'm saying is Konami, you need to nut up and ban Runic cards and stop semi-limiting them. That doesn't help anybody. The effect that is annoying is the fact that they can make Hugin forever.
You know, the first thought that came to me of this card is, like, I feel like Mutant should have a thing where their cards, their negate effects are, like, constant, or just more payoff, because I feel like how much effort you put into it, it's just not enough.
Yeah, especially considering this guy's stat line. Like, this guy has the same attack as a Jinzo, and he's not even as good as Jinzo, right? Like, there's support for Jinzo. You can turbo Jinzo onto the board.
And then you can have multiple Jinzos that do different things.
Yeah, and like, if you're playing it like a Jinzo deck, you can negate all your opponent's traps and also still play your traps. So, like, it's a little held back. Like I said, Beast is generally, I don't think, considered one of the better ones.
It's like, besides needing its own cycling effect, because again, it needs to do something when you can't summon it.
Yeah, no. While you can special from hand, only with the mutant effect, as we talked about earlier, they're kind of bricky. I mean, you can play trade in because it's 8s and ditch them, but then you're playing additional like cards. I guess that gets you to Mist, so let's go to that guy.
Let's go. Next one.
If I have to juggle 5 million tabs because Wikipedia is still broken a little bit. At the very least, the card art for Mist is interesting. All right, how big is this? Okay, no, it's properly sized. Dismissed. Mutant Mist. So this one's interesting. What's your actual type there, buddy?
Oh, yeah, because it looks like he could be several types.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. I got to look at his... Okay, so it's funny. Mist is a spellcaster.
Wasn't this made from the mix of, like, let's see, the, like, electrical grid, the plant room, and then, like, the chemical lab?
No. The two things you see in the back are plants and crystals, which is what this guy is made of, plants and crystals. But also, he's summoning runes. How does that work? I don't fucking know.
I guess they were magic crystals.
Yeah, so, like, in the context of Yu-Gi-Oh!, this is the one that is made by banishing spell cards. Makes sense. In the context of the story, I don't know why. Well, yeah, that you can see from the little guys. Like, the little guy, it's one's normal, one's spikier, and then one's breaking free. So this one is, even crazier. Still in, like a test room. Like, you can see the window and the backdrop. I feel like, we're going from, like, a normal test to, like, Santana in JoJo Part 2 type shenanigans. He's going to use the backwards ribcage attack or the meat invade soon.
Oh, God.
What's
also
the name?
known
What's
as
the word
foul
for it?
flesh.
Why am I'm forgetting the name of... I'm forgetting the term where it's, where you activate the second layer of defense and, like, make all the barricaded walls down. Not alarm.
It's a lockdown, but that's...
Lockdown, I guess.
You're saying it's like a very specific example that I don't think there is actually a term
No,
for
I think
that.
it's a term. I'm forgetting it's a term, but it's...
There's
there's
quarantines, there's lockdowns. Anyway, Mist is cool. I like the weird, like, crystal plant thing they got going on here. This has big Final Fantasy boss vibes. Though, technically, I do think I fought some guys that are shaped like Beast in 7. But yeah, this one's full of evil crystal juice, and it's going to shoot lightning and runes at you. So, what Mist does... Mist is a level 8 spellcaster. It's got 2,700 attack, 1,900 defense, or 2,900 defense, sorry. It's 2/9. So, way better stats than Beast. Can't be special summoned except by the effect of a mutant card. Oh, I should specify this one is Wind. This is a Wind spellcaster. Your opponent can't target this card with spell effects. You only use each of the following effects of Mist once per turn. When your opponent activates a trap card or effect, banish a card, draw 2 cards. So it does not negate the trap card. You just get to draw 2. This card in your opponent's possession is destroyed by an opponent's card. Target a banished mutant monster, add to your hand. So Mist has much better stats, which I think is an improvement. I'm going to say Mist is not a good card. I can see where they were going with this. Its effects are not good. Most people don't play spells that target like that. Like, okay... So you can't Book of Moon Mutant Mist. You don't want to Book of Moon Mutant Mist anyway. It's got a bigger ass than it does a front, right?
It's more like you get compulsed playing against Labyrinth.
Well, I mean, Labyrinth didn't exist when this card was written. No. What I'm saying is, you know what this card doesn't stop? Raigeki, Lightning Storm, Dark Ruler no more. I guess it prevents being forbidden dropleted? That's it.
Why would you bother?
Like, well, I mean, it's got a pretty huge attack, so, like, dropletting it to make it smaller works, but you would probably just work around that somehow, you know? Like you said, in modern Yu-Gi-Oh, though, Labyrinth is a good deck and does regularly play Compulse, you know? Like, there's quite a lot of ways to get around this that are not targeting it with spell cards. Oh, no, you can't mind control Mutant Mist. Cool.
Like, honestly, I've always felt that I felt like the bigger mutants should be immune to all of your opponent's effects. Like,
yeah, I feel like that's one of those
all monster cards
things that are too balanced. Yeah, you should just say not just you can't target. This card is unaffected by your opponent's spell effects. You know, that would not actually be that broken because only each card only has one type of immunity, right? If you summon Mist and it's like, okay, you can't Lightning Storm me, and your opponent's like, cool, I can still TT you or, you know, Effect Veiler you, and then
maybe eventually they could do like a weird thing where it's a towers or hoops, but they have cards that make it where they share their immunity effects to each other.
Yeah, you could make like materials, and we haven't gotten into the fusion guys yet, but Mist is also bad because its second effect is when your opponent activates a trap card, you get to banish a card to draw 2, so you get to, you know, go +1. That doesn't do anything. Your opponent flips Skill Drain. Your effect is negated anyway. I mean, it won't be because it's a quick effect, but you know what I mean. Like, it's not good. So Mist's only real benefit is it gets to return your banished mutant monsters, and it has a good stat line. It's just not really great. And I think it is that way because it's banished off of spell cards, which are like probably the #1 cards you are going to be willing to banish because what if you've already done all your shit, or what if you've already activated your field spell? You know. And so I believe it is generally considered that our next one, Arsenal, is the best because he needs to be summoned with trap cards. Also, art-wise, Arsenal is pretty cool. You can clearly tell that shit's getting a little wrong, as this mutant has eaten a security robot, or 4. Like he's just got power cables being sucked out of the ground. It's got.
I think it also said it also like ate. I think it also ate all of its lab equipment it was a part of.
Yeah, that was the security effect was what they said in the solo mode. You are right. This actually looks more like it ate the diagnostic equipment. Like these are the robot arms, like to manipulate it.
Honestly,
and it's got like the dissection saw and the laser.
Maybe even the guy operating it because it's got a helmet.
Yeah,
I was imaging I was imaging it's like one of those humanoid robot things. They're like plugged in that like do all the movements for the person controlling it. So I wish it ate that and all the equipment.
Yeah, a remote surgeon, which is real. If you haven't seen, I believe the branding is called Da Vinci, but yeah, they're actually like really good. But yeah, it's got cables coming out. It's got all that stuff. Like that's what this does look a little bit more like. You can tell that the situation is getting bad because it is peeling apart the safety door, and which is clearly supposed to be locked because you can see that the keypad has a big red light on it. Things are not going well.
And that's like high density fiberglass shit because like it's not fully broken, it's just cracking.
Yeah, it's just warping, which is it's real. So this is Mutant Arsenal. This is a fire machine level 8. Kind of a shame if it was a dark level 8, it probably would be pretty good. But it also has a very respectable stat line for a level 8. It has 3k attack and 1000 defense. Cannot be special summoned except by a mutant monster. Your opponent cannot target this card with trap effects. This is honestly probably, next to Beast's protection from monster targeting, this is probably one of the better ones. Obviously, like, doesn't stop TT, but it does stop Compulse. It stops Phoenix Wing Wind Blast. It stops some trap holes. Doesn't really do anything about mirror forces, but generally you don't... Chat, if you're going to get Drowning Mirror Forced, you either blow up your opponent's back row or you have to accept that you're going to get Drowning Mirror Forced. You don't play around Drowning Mirror Force. It's pretty rare.
Something just kind of hit me. I feel like these cards should have a thing of they're protected from a certain effect, but also that, or if they only have target protection from this one thing, I feel like they should have destruction protection as well.
Can't be destroyed or targeted. I don't know.
If they were targeted by... I feel like if they were targeted by other types of spells, it should let you be able to grab the other monsters, the other mutants, to actually
Yeah, I don't
hand.
know. They don't really
like if
special
you're targeted by
summon
monster
themselves.
effect, get beast to your hand or the
Yeah, there's
thing to get
some
into
some
beast.
weird shit you could work with here. So the other thing it does, it has the normal 2 once per turn. When your opponent activates a monster effect, twig effect, banish a card from your hand or field, target a monster on the field, banish it. So this is targeting but not destruction banishment, so that's really good. Your opponent does a monster effect and you go, cool, get that guy out of here. Not perfect, obviously. Axe brought up stuff like branded fusion earlier. There's some stuff that you just can't stop with a banish, but it's still pretty good to get an interruption. And then if this card in its owner's possession is destroyed by an opponent's card, add target one of your banished mutant spells and add it back. Arsenal is generally the best because it's got the highest stat line, and that monster interruption effect is pretty good, followed by Beast because that actually, negates spells. Mist is kind of shoddy. But honestly, you're not really playing the mutants for the big boys, because there's 2 more. There's 2 extra deck monsters. This is a fusion archetype, chat.
Yeah.
That's what I always remember about it. Is like the fusion ones are actually the ones that like see play.
Yes.
Vaguely, but not really.
And you usually need the big boys from mats, but they're fairly well. So this is our first stage. This is Mutant Synthesis. Ah! We're getting real late stage Resident Evil.
Beast hits phase 3.
Yeah, this is real late stage Resident Evil or Dead Space, boss vibes.
Honestly, it reminds me of phase 3 or 4 of the Burton G virus.
Mm-hmm.
Like
we just start growing extra shit.
Yeah, and it's where the human body is no longer actually in control anymore.
Yeah, he's got like extra redundant arms. He's got multiple noodle eye head things, all of which are weak points, obviously. It looks like it's got several of these core mutant bits, all clutched together. He's like growing weird crystals and flower bits as well as the bestial parts. He summoned the red lightning of pain. But yeah, this is Synthesis. Literally, its name in Japanese as well. Shinshishishu Myutants.
Wait, is this meant to be Beast and Mist together?
Possibly. I will say, so its fusion materials are 2 mutant monsters with different attributes, so this is why you normally play the boys. Because they've got, your base level mutants are water, and then each of the big ones is, wind, earth, fire, so they all go into Synthesis. Synthesis, by the way, is a level 9 psychic water fusion, 2500 attack, 2k defense, so technically this might, actually no, that doesn't quite work. I was going to say maybe this is supposed to be Beast plus Mutant, but that doesn't work because Mutant wasn't printed when this card was printed, so. It's just 1 level higher, so it's just the next stage past Beast, probably. If this card is fusion summoned, target 1 card on the field, destroy it. When your opponent activates a card or effect, quick effect, you can activate this effect. For the rest of this turn, this face-up card is unaffected by the effects of an opponent's card of the same type as that card. Monster, spell, trap. If this fusion summon card is destroyed by an opponent's card, add 1 of your banished mutant cards to your hand. You can only use each effect of Synthesis once per turn. So Synthesis is kind of just like the big boys clutched together. It has, when summoned, it destroys. Just any card on fusion summon, it pops. One of Mutants' ways to fusion summon is a trap card, so they have a built-in fusion summon on your opponent's turn. So that's pretty good. When your opponent activates a card or effect, quick effect, you activate this effect, and then this card becomes unaffected. By the way, because of the way the chain works, that means you're unaffected by the card. Because it would be Chain Link 1, your opponent plays like Raigeki or something. You're like, quick effect, Chain Link 2, I am now immune to spell cards. Or trap cards, or monster cards. So it's only 1 type, but you are unaffected for the rest of this turn, and it's, per turn, basically, when your opponent does something. So it's a lot better of an immunity. It doesn't stop you from being, like, Solemned. It doesn't stop you from cards like Super Poly or Dark Ruler no more that can't be responded to. But in general, it is a much better blanket protection, yes. Considering that its mats are super easy to make, it's just any 2 mutant monsters with different attributes, pretty respectable.
I feel like you could just run the small guys and just work from there.
No, you can't because they're all water.
Oh.
You literally have to run at least 1 big one. I believe Arsenal is preferred, but again, they have ways of working around this. Probably then what Mutant needs now is like a level 5 that like has the ability to like banish a mutant card from your hand or deck, this card becomes that monster's attribute in grave or field or something. So you can like
I just
attribute
feel like
fix.
God, this is one of the arguments I feel like God, they just need to have a thing. All the big ones just have a thing eroded on them, where you can just cycle them. Like fuck for suck's sakes.
I mean, not like I don't think they need like an errata. If they had a continuous spell or trap that was just like banish a level 8 mutant, add a different level 8 mutant. Like,
yeah, but that's not consistent
the...
enough. You should still draw the spell trap.
Well, yeah, but that's, I mean, you can search it, though. Remember, they started with a spell trap searcher and a monster searcher on normal or special. Like,
gotcha. Fair.
You don't, if you're playing mutant correctly with the right ratios, you don't need any specific cards out of your deck. You just need searchers. The problem is, what do you do when you don't want to run like 3 full copies of Arsenal, Mist, Beast, because what do you do if you draw 5 cards and they're all level 8s, right? You could run Trade In to mitigate that, but then you're running another like 3rd outside spell card. And the problem is that like if Mist was really good, this wouldn't be a problem, right? But Mist is kind of mid, so it's not really great. You don't want to play extra spell cards, you know?
I think I may have a problem where I think of the Necroz cards that came out like over 10 years ago compared to when these came out.
Well, yeah, but you got to remember
those just have inherent hand effects. It's like,
right, but that's because they were trying to fix ritual monsters, which are normally dead cards in your hand because you can't.
Then why not fix like big tribute monsters?
Well, they did. There's lots of cards that fix big tribute monsters. And in fact, I would like to point out, the mutants can be normal summoned at any point. They can only be special summoned by mutant effects, but nothing stops you if you got 2 guys on board from tributing them. Hell, you know, you want to talk about spell cards that might be useful? If you really want to fuck up your opponent, you can consider running Monarch Stormforth in this. So you can tribute their monsters to hard summon your mutants that are in your hand.
That reminds me, can we like, when we're done with this, could we like cover like the new Monarch card?
Oh yeah, there's a new Monarch we should actually mention.
I want to talk about that because I feel like I actually like some of its extra effects on it.
Yeah, there's gonna be it's what is his name, like Dark Thestalos, Shadow Thestalos?
It's a fusion between Caius and Thestalos.
Yeah, it's fucking cool.
I like it's about tributing upon tributing in like a fun way.
Neato.
But yeah, we have one more fusion, and then I will talk about their spell traps later. But I think Synthesis' only real problem is, again, Konami is keeping these guys kind of balanced. He has pretty weak stats for a level 9 fusion. Literally 2 out of your 3 level 8s are bigger than this guy, so you got to be careful.
Like honestly, I feel like the level is just because it's a bigger version of Beast.
Yeah, it's supposed to be
else.
Climb.
It's not. I don't think it's actually meant to be connected to its stats because they stopped doing that ever since Xyz.
Well, yeah, but the it's still like one of those things where like, you know, it can work out. But here's the biggest boy, quite literally, he's very large. This is Mutant Ultimus, and the card art is a little too big. This is when we've gone full kaiju. This is when we need to call Godzilla
or Mechagodzilla.
No, because the art style ramped up. Look at this.
Like there's the fucking God rays, there's the Pillar of Light. You know, there's there's a helicopter for scale down here.
So, I always thought, like I said, like when we did the kaiju's years back, I felt like they could make good figures. This one cannot be a figure. This only works as a poster.
No. There's a very, very expensive statue that's like handcrafted out there of this guy.
Yeah.
But no, it's not. That's like, this is the collectible market only. You can't sell casual figures because this guy is like Hydra as fuck. He's got like at least 4 different eyeball heads. He's got a big long tail, at least 2 legs. He's got a demon pillar sticking out of his back.
For the premiere, for like the premium premiere of it, they have the statue outside the theater.
Yes, no, this would absolutely be in the front of your theater. And you can probably buy a popcorn bowl that is shaped like one of the capsules, and it costs you way too much money.
What would it be was that the statue's out there, and then clearly like quartered off or like taped off. Like, this is too expensive. We can't have someone touch this.
Do not touch. Do not pose.
It's like this probably made some like sculpt maker's year.
Or their worst nightmare acts. You don't know.
Well, I mean financially their year, but yeah.
Well, we hope.
We hope. Pay your artists, everyone.
But yes, so this is Ultimus.
Exposure
He's
is
very big. He's a level 10 Dark Psychic Fusion, 3,500 attack, 3k defense, 3 level 8 or higher mutant monsters. So it requires three mats, and requires you to, get some of your mutants involved. When a card,
honestly,
go ahead.
Honestly, I kind of wish this was like in an anime, just so we could have the moment of the enemy player plays it, and then it's suddenly revealed the scale of how huge this thing fucking is.
Yeah, it's definitely got action for that. But so, this card says, when a card or effect is activated, quick effect. Banish a mutant card from your hand, graveyard, or face-up field of that same type, monster, spell, or trap. Negate that activation. So it's got a, and if you do banish that card, so it's got a Mechaba type effect, which is pretty good.
That's reliable.
It's just, non-once per turn. When the card or effect is activated, you can banish a mutant card from your hand, graveyard, or face-up field of the same type to just yeet him. So, yeah. If this fusion summon card you control is destroyed by an opponent's card, add up to 3 of your banished mutant cards, up to 1 each of monster, spell, or trap to your hand. You can only use... it is only once per turn. Sorry, it's at the end. Only each effect once per turn. But still, a once per turn Omni Negate, and if he gets destroyed, he gets recycled. A pretty decent boss monster. You know, it's not quite... Synthesis is Omni... it's unaffected. It's Towersiness conditionally. But still a fairly decent start. You know, we're trying. And so let me...
Attempts were made.
Yeah. So, a pretty decent guy. In general, I don't think that mutants need a, like, they don't necessarily need more monsters. Though certainly I think that, like I said, maybe a level 5 that can Cyber Dragon itself and can, like, banish mutants to change.
It doesn't need band-aids. It needs stitches.
I mean, honestly, no. I would say more band-aid. Like the
Okay.
core concept of make synthesis or ultimates and just be like, hey, you opponent, I negate you. Like, it works. The problem is that in general, Yu-Gi-Oh has a lot of really good generic tools that do this. You know, obviously nobody is doing it. But in the TCG, you can still play the Dragoon engine. You know, you can play a Red Eyes Dark Dragoon package for a negate. You can play invoked engines to go to Mechaba to get negates of similar. Barone is a generic negate that any deck that can sync 10 can make. You know, shit like that. So, Synthesis being archetype locked, or ultimate, I should say. Synthesis is also archetype locked, but ultimate being an archetype locked negate, it doesn't give it a lot of extra juice, which is a shame. So we're going to talk about the Filled spell.
Right, I had one.
I mean, they mentioned it earlier. It's the Evolution Lab. It's important.
Oh, makes sense.
Yeah, GB88 is like, hey, if you control a Mutant Evolution Lab, you can do stuff. Let me pull up this card art because it's a little bit of a dynamic scene. Some of their card arts are not that interesting, but I think Evolution Lab is important for a couple of reasons. So, oh, it's big. Hold on. So yeah, it just shows you walls and walls of mutants. Sorry, sneeze. This one is being fed a crystal.
Were they breeding them, or were they just collecting all of them that came out?
I think it's in the solo mode. It's implied that they are like, I don't know if breeding them is the right word. I think they like
synthesizing them.
Also, I love just the tentacles reaching out like, yes.
Yeah, no, it's like he's getting his little sippy cup on this crystal.
Give me material. But
by the way, this one's 92.
It is Spelltrap 92/J, so I guess there's probably hundreds of thousands of them.
Yeah. So there's a lot of samples. But the lab's effect is it's a spell. It's a field spell. When this card is activated, you can special summon one of your level 4 or lower mutant monsters from your hand, or that is banished. Mutant monsters you control gain 100 attack for each of your banished mutant cards with different names. Don't know why we had to be so specific on that one. Once returned during your main phase, place one mutant monster from your hand to the bottom of the deck, and if you do, draw one card. You only activate one Evolution Lab for a turn. So this has the cycling effect you're talking about. place a mutant, draw a card. It's not specific, though, so you can summon from deck or hand, so it works to cycle out your big boys. But it's still limited to once per turn, so if you brick too hard, basically, what Mutant is telling you is your ratios need to be very specific for your level 8s. This first effect is, though, really good just on activation. Special summon a level 4 from your hand or that is banished. All of your level 4 or lowers get an effect when they're summoned. Oh, solid. I like that the attack modulation is there. It helps the fact that some of them do have slightly anemic stat lines. I just don't like how specific it is. It's 100 attack for each banished card with a different name.
Yeah.
You don't even have that many names. There's like 1, 2, 3,
6, 7?
4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 if you count the 2 extra decks. So yeah, there's 7 main deck names for monsters, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6,
and you're only ever gonna run
spells.
like 4 to 5 of
so
the
like
names, not
hypothetically, if you banish one of every mutant name, you only get 1400 attack, which
That's
is
not
okay, but like
it's not great unless you did something with the banished mutant cards.
I mean, you can get them back, but that means you're getting them back. You're losing the attack modulation. It's a little anemic. That said, the once per turn, place a mutant monster from your hand back. It's trying to be the do everything field spell, and it does okay. And obviously, you can run terraforming because if you just hard draw the field spell, terraforming can be banished for mist, etc., etc. You can also run Metaverse as a generic card to get this guy on the board. That actually works really well with GB because that can be only summoned that way it can be summoned on your opponent's turn, so you can get some disruption in there. And then it gives you a trap card to banish, But there's a few things. Let's just run these down in order. The ones that aren't super interesting arts I won't blow up. I'll just paste the card. Mutant Blast. Lots of blasting going on here.
It's doing its attack.
Yeah, that's just Mist doing its attack. This is an equip spell. In Japanese, by the way, this is Mutoria Hanshaseo. Mutria Reflex Action. Anyway, equip only to a level 8 or higher mutant monster you control. At the start of the damage step, if the equipped monster attacks an opponent's special summon monster, banish that monster. While this card is equipped to a monster, you can banish this card, send the monster equipped to the graveyard. If you do summon one level 8 monster with a different attribute from your hand or deck, you can use this effect once per turn. So this gives you another way to cycle. I don't like that it's on an equip spell.
It's also based off a battle effect, which is oh no, it has a battle effect. That's not a good sign.
No, it's a Shadow Construct effect, Axe. That's really good.
Fair.
It turns all of your level 8 mutants into a Shadow Construct.
With
a non-destruction banish, but no, you gotta. The thing is, you gotta remember, if you're going to battle phase and attacking like that, that's a valid form of removal if it removes the monster. The problem with a lot of battle effects,
I'm used to I guess I'm used to I guess a year ago where the format was if you're ever actually doing an attack, you're losing the game.
Yeah, that doesn't happen as much anymore. We've kind of rotated out of that. Attacking is important if you can attack at all. It's completely valid to actually be able to attack over monsters if you can. But the main thing is this is an equip spell that only equips to your high-level mutants. And yes, you can banish it to cycle a guy, and it's not specified, but still very, very clunky, a little slow. Would definitely play other mutant names first. Yeah, this is just, the next one is just Arsenal doing his thing. Mutant Clash, continuous trap card. It's got Arsenal doing Arsenal things on it. When you activate this card, target one effect monster your opponent controls. Banish a mutant from your graveyard. If you do, negate its effects until the end of this turn, even this card leaves the field. When your level 8 or higher mutant monster destroys an opponent's monster by battle, draw one card. You can only use this effect once per turn, only activate one Clash per turn. Clash is bad. So this is the kind of battle effect that is still bad. Destroy an opponent's monster by battle? Okay. I mean, what if that's not ideal, What if I can't destroy by battle, or what if that doesn't game state?
Why is there no negate or banish of the effect when you banish it when you battle it,
Yeah, it just, when you destroy by battle, draw one card. This conflicts with Clash. Not with Clash, that's this card. With Blast, because that banishes. It also, this is a incredibly shitty Fiendish Chain. This card isn't even as good as Fiendish Chain, right? You activate it, you target an effect monster, you banish a mutant from your graveyard to negate its effect until the end of this turn. Just play Fiendish Chain.
Honestly, it reminds me of certain in archetype cards of this effect is designed to represent what Arsenal actually does when it battles a thing, and not actually an effect. It's meant to be an effect via the game mechanics show you what it's doing flavor-wise.
Yeah, probably that happens sometimes. Usually that's for like more nostalgia type sets. This is just not a great card.
It's like
it's draw one.
So.
You know, it does all that stuff. This card art's also not super important. But this is their Trap Fusion I mentioned. Mutant Cry. This is just, naturally for a fusion spell, this is just Ultimus being born.
Real, that is like, I originally thought that was like a head, but no, that was just one of the tendrils.
Yeah, it's just the top of him busting out of the ground and blowing up all those skyscrapers.
Yeah, I'd say,
it's a good shot.
It's a shot you see before he fully emerges.
During the main phase, fusion summon one mutant fusion monster from your extra deck by shuffling the fusion materials listed on it into the deck from cards anywhere in your field, graveyard, or face-up banished cards. You can only activate Mutant Cry once per turn. It is a Thunder Dragon fusion, but on a trap card. But you can search trap cards, and it's good. And remember that several of your fusion monsters have effects when summoned.
It's actually a downgrade because it's not a quick play trap card.
Well, it's not a counter trap. It's not a.
It should be a counter trap, but not.
No, it's not. It shouldn't be a counter trap. You can't just activate counter traps though.
Fair.
Yeah.
They have to have a trigger.
Just to give like, because I'm used to Thunder Dragon fusion being quick play. I'm misremembering it. I'm probably misremembering it.
Okay then.
I don't think. No, Thunder Dragon Fusion's a normal spell card.
Oh, okay. That's fine. I don't think it needs to be the main phase, only during the main phase.
Well, yeah, that's a limitation, but I think it's important because it's your guys do something on effect. They pop on summon, so this is meant to be somewhat good, and it's got a good effect to shuffle them back. This means you can just banish your fucking big guys to make Ultimus and stuff like that. It's fairly solid, and I think one of your preferred cards to play is Set Up Cry.
I just had a cool visual effect come to mind me of, say someone plays the card and then this thing shoots out of the ground and then Ultimus like climbs from the crevasse.
Well, I mean, I think that is actually, this is meant to be like Ultimus's like summoning animation, like I have activated the cry of the mutant, and then he pops out of the ground.
Pops out. Yeah, I don't know. I like
this is actually a card art I do want to show because I think it's very good. This is Mutant Expansion. And,
damn.
Yeah.
Fuck. Yeah. Holy shit, that's awesome.
We're getting greebly. Let me check when this was printed. No, this was all in Phantom Rage. So is Cry. I think it was Mutant Fusion to give them a fusion spell card that was added later. But yeah, no.
Hey, everyone, roll Sam.
Yeah, basically. He's big. He's here. He's gooey. This is a continuous trap card. When you activate this card, take a level 4 or lower mutant monster from your deck and either add it to your hand or special summon it. This is, by the way, it's a trap card, so you can do this on your opponent's turn. If a level 8 or higher mutant monster you control will be destroyed by a card effect, you can banish this card you control instead. You can only activate one mutant expansion per turn. Expansion is mostly good for its activation effect. I wish its Banish to Protect effect was also from Graveyard, but it's okay. It lets you get traps in rotation for other stuff. It's not, the worst. But yeah, just a trap card that lets you special or add. Keep in mind, by the way, GB, remember, has an effect when it's summoned on your opponent's turn. So, like, it's just, in general, this is a pretty decent card in your rotation. Also has a great name in Japanese. This is Mutoria Cho Kotaike. Mutria Super Colony Organism. He's big. He's grown. So let me check then. This was released later. Yeah? No? Okay, this was all in Phantom Rage. Was it just Mutant? I could have sworn they had like 2 extra cards. Did they release the entirety of Mutant in one set? Or is it like Blast or Clash that was second?
I have no idea.
Oh, no. Like Blast was Phantom Rage. Let me check Clash. Because Cry was Phantom Rage. Nope. Clash was Phantom Rage. Wow, okay. So, other than Mutant, These guys don't have any support.
I guess you can play Mutant and Sealed then.
Yeah, basically. I mean, like, Mutant really helps, but if you just want to open Phantom Rages, Mutant is a perfectly valid archetype if you can get the skis. It's a little high rarity.
If you want to do Phantom Rage Sealed, which is probably honestly doesn't sound that fun, honestly.
So let me also grab the card art for Mutant Fusion.
Which honestly
also
doesn't sound that fun, honestly.
I know I stumbled there.
It's okay, we'll get there.
No, we're not going to do stumbling.
No.
No stumbling, fail Portrayal.
What else? What other card will we play? It would just be show the one card and move on.
Well, I mean, that would be the Gagagio episode, but anyway.
No.
Oh, I mean,
Mutant Fusion.
We would do that whole archetype, yeah.
The joke is that we can't even get to the cards.
Yeah.
This is Mutant Fusion.
God. That is a fucking awesome art.
Yeah.
It is also interesting that it also shows that the core is not the brain, it's just a part of it.
Yeah, they have multiple little cores and stuff. It's very interesting. So this is a normal fusion spell. That'd be funny if spells had a fusion subtype. Anyway, honestly, make a lot of things easier.
It would be better. It would have been a better design because it would mean you just focus on that instead.
But you know, we have fusion cards. This is just Mutant Fusion. It's a normal spell card. Fusion summon one Mutant Fusion monster from your extra deck by banishing fusion materials from your hand or field. If your opponent has activated a card or effect this turn, you can use one monster each from your deck or graveyard as fusion material. You can only activate Mutant Fusion once per turn. So I think Cry is better because it shuffles back and you can banish a lot of stuff. But Mutant Fusion is searchable by certain cards and definitely has a benefit if you want to make like Synthesis as opposed to making Ultimus, because it's just 2. And then like also, hey, it's got a triple attack type effect. If your opponent has like hand trapped you or something, you're like, okay, fuck you. I get to banish a monster from my deck and my graveyard. 2, die. But the fact that you can't do it all the time makes it kind of weirdly reactive and based around your opponent. But yeah, honestly, I think Mutant is decent for having gotten lots of its stuff, but it needs that second wave of support. I'm very surprised there's not been another blob of it.
Honestly,
Yeah.
I will say, I think the art today has been pretty good. Like, I feel like Unit is like a step up from Starry Night, but I feel like we both reviewed archetypes that have like decent art, and then just kind of middling.
Yeah, and as I mentioned way earlier, it's very interesting because these two archetypes are basically like come from like polar opposite in terms of design philosophy. Starry Night premiered in a special OCG, like, hey, we're building, new archetypes or support for old archetypes, Selection 10, right? And then we're phased into the TCG through the power of, turning it into a side set. That was Ghost from the Past. Mutant is a world premiere archetype. It was in the TCG first, and then it was brought to the OCG in a, world premiere pack later that year. But they both suffer from kind of the same problems. They're just a little too fair. They're not really pushing any, like, cutting edge. And they have a huge lack of, like, comprehensive support.
It always feels like this is the power level designers want you to be at, but isn't.
Yeah, if it's the power level they want it to be at, they need to stop printing other fucking archetypes. Like, what the fuck is up with a branded Despia Bestial? Like, I don't know, like... Again, this Mutant at least was a TCG world premiere, so like, though I assume that the guys in the Konami offices in Japan brewing up the Albaz storyline and like pushing the shit out of those cards are not the same guys who in Konami of America or of Europe are whittling away at their cute little B-movie horror archetype.
Honestly, I've always kind of seen it as a lot of effects are. It's partially them also trying to translate the actual like feeling of what is happening with the cards, which sometimes translates to being because of it as is, because of how it is presented. It just leads to it being kind of broken. Like Albaz can just merge with beings, so you can just fuse from anywhere.
I think you're thinking of this in the wrong way around. I mean, sometimes I think Konami has cool ideas for archetype like. They probably have artists who are like, hey, I have a cool aesthetic for this. And they're like, okay, how do we build this to be an archetype? And they do it that way. Generally, I think that Konami designs mechanics first and then ascribes archetypes to them. I think that like, Albaz turns into different dragons and shit. like, because they were like, what do we want to do? We want to try a new fusion archetype that's generic, you know? We want to try to, like, capture that shadow energy, but different, you know? What do we, how, and also they were probably, you know, planning on, after World Legacy concluded, they were planning a giant big story arc. How do we make, like, a guy, you know, recurring? Well, we'll make him do a whole bunch of different fusion forms. Like, I think the fact, like, how Dogmatica works, I don't think they came up with the idea of, like, oh, we're going to come up with this dogmatic church nation who are, like, really oppressive. They were like, what's really good right now? Lots of generic extra deck shit, right? How do we design a... We're gonna, you know, do a storyline pushed archetype. How do we design an archetype that's gonna be meta and interesting? We'll make it anti-extra deck, you know, and that's their entire thing. And then they were like, okay, now we have to design this archetype aesthetically. What is it? Well, they're kind of, like, control-y and oppressive, and we might have had this vague idea for, like, Albaz is, like, this dragon guy, you know? How do we make that work? I know, we'll make him a creepy Catholic church. That always works for us, says Japan. And that's how we get, like, Dogmatica, you know? Like, I don't know how they come up with these efforts, and, honestly... a lot of the time when they do legacy support, the idea of, like, you know, mechanically making sense is thrown out the window. What the fuck is Beatrice? How does Beatrice work? She's a level 6 that you can rank up from Dante. I guess that makes sense that, like, Beatrice keeps showing up where Dante is in the Inferno.
No, Dante
and shit.
I mean, Dante leaves the Inferno to get to Beatrice and they go around the heavens, but yeah.
I mean, yeah, but, like she keeps being mentioned, and, like, when we get to Purgatorio and Paradiso, she does keep showing up. Like, but her effect is to, you know, she's still a generic rank 6 otherwise, and her effect is to detach and just bin a guy. That's just generically good for Burning Abyss. And that's the kind of action that I think Mutant needs. Mutant needs the OCG to like Mutants and give them some fucking cool-ass shit. Like, they need probably, like, a third fusion monster that's a little bit easier to set up. Like, give them an even lower statted fusion monster, like maybe a level 6 or something that's just, like... or a 7, even, that's just, like, 2 little guys stuck together, just any 2 mutant monsters kind of a thing, to give them some more extra deck play, some utility. Like I said, give them the ability to dub attributes to make, you know, Ultimus a little easier to summon would probably be good. That could be main deck. And there's a lot of stuff you could do here. Hell, you know, these guys are, like, some of them are psychic, they don't have any light monsters yet. They don't have any main deck dark monsters. There's still some wiggle room with, like, attributes you could do. You could always try the thing that kind of worked for some other archetypes, like certain amounts of kaiju and how Subterror works. You could make a mutant sub-archetype to be like, you know, those scientists and those helicopters we saw, like the mutant containment team.
I was, human containment squad or something like that.
Yeah, like, you could... as an excuse for, like, you know, letting you summon more mutants out is that, like, you know, maybe the containment squad is like, well, we're here, so clearly there must be a mutant here. So, like, you know, you summon the scientists and they summon forth a little mutant, you know, to get their effects off, that kind of shit. Like, there's definitely some room to support, and that's something that I think is where a lot of archetypes live and die, is on that support. It's not just on their printings and their rarity. It's like, when does Konami decide to give these guys more juice? And sometimes they don't give those guys juice.
So on the topic of giving more juice, do you want to see Shadow Kai? You want to go see Shadow Vestalos?
I mean, yeah, but hold on, I'm double checking something.
Sorry.
I want to.
I was cooking that a bit too long.
Yeah. Actually, I feel it's really weird. I feel like unless the Yu-Gi-Oh fandom wiki is out of date, I do kind of feel like Konami's forgotten about mutants, because they're only shown as being printed the once in Phantom Rage. That means they weren't even reprinted in, like, tins and stuff. Let me go to TCG.
Damn.
That's also begging for, like, hey, you should run a side set and, like, include a couple of new support cards and reprint their old shit. So let me search Mutant generically. Let's see. Phantom Rage, Phantom Rage, Phantom Rage, Phantom Rage, Phantom Rage, Phantom Rage. Battle of Chaos from Mutant. Phantom Rage, Phantom Rage, Phantom Rage. Yeah, no, one printing's for everything. Yeah, this is just, it's very sad, but this is just a very undersupported archetype. Hey, Konami, if you're listening, if you see, like, SEO, Mutant. You know, give him the reprints. You guys are bringing back, like, classic tins, which will include, like, Battle of Chaos and stuff, like...
A new whole card?
Yeah, they added a new like trap hole.
Oh, okay.
Oh yeah, it was like I remember looking at it and being like, "Oh, that is like horribly fucked up."
So support for trap tricks. I see.
We could
Kind
probably
of.
cover both. We could probably cover both cards, honestly.
I mean, that we can cover it if I can find it in a timely manner, because it does mean that I have to dig back through. There it is. Okay, I did find it. Not too bad. It's on the second page. Yeah. Wipeout trap hole.
I saw it translated as like something that's like actually like kind of freaks me out a bit.
No, it's just a grammar thing. The name is Danzetsu no Otoshiana. So here, I will copy the promo image. If it's not super, no, it's super tiny. God curse you, Google. All right, I know the image. Actually, no, the image really is that tiny. What the fuck? Well, let me go to the source then. Hold on.
So just like as a trap triz, and I'm like, oh, okay, I guess you are a trap trick. You're not even a trap tricks player. You're just one of them.
Well, Trap Tricks is kind of pushed right now. They're actually trying to do stuff for them, and so, all right. Here's the image off Twitter. It's scaled correctly. So this is Wipeout Trap Hole, or as I said, Danzetsu no Oshiana. It's explicit to note that the name used here, that's not the trap hole, it could also be erasure trap hole. Basically, grammatically in Japanese, it means both something that has been completely erased, or it's also used in the same context of animals being extinct, or to be cut off, isolated. So, you know, like banished, killed, like, etc.
Removed from, like, the cycle of souls.
Okay, X, you've... Yeah.
Hole.
I mean, you're...
Cycle of souls and swords.
Axe, you're taking that from a note that the guy who translates things on Yu-Gi-Oh! Organization wrote. This guy is very often wrong about things.
Fair enough. I will say, can we describe, like, the dude in this is, like, kind of grossly buff?
I mean, yeah, it's a throwback art for sure. Yeah, Duelist Nexus seems pretty cool. I think the context of just, like, erasure trap hole probably works here, because they're just, like, we're erasing you from existence. Which sounds creepier, but is also, like, just what you would say on 4Kids rather than die! Be erased from existence!
Yeah. Maybe erasure is kind of worse than just being killed, for real.
It is, but, you know, it's less offensive to soccer moms. Anyway, what this card does, it's a normal trap card. When your opponent summons a monster with 1500 or less attack, banish that monster face down. So it's like Bottomless Trap Hole, but...
Like normal Trap Hole, but, like, better.
No, it's Bottomless. Normal Trap Hole is 1k or higher. And also only normal summon. It's Bottomless. When your opponent summons a monster with 1500 or less, banish it face down. So honestly, this is probably better than Bottomless in the modern context, because it banishes face down and it attacks low. So it's basically like, hey, did your opponent summon a low level starter? Fuck you. You're going to Brazil.
Yeah.
I noticed this doesn't affect Thunder Dragons at all, actually, because I won't be like normal summoning Matrix.
Yeah, no. There are a lot of decks this does fuck all to, so I think this is a side deck card. But there are, for instance, for comparison, this is a card you play in Kashtira, not against Kashtira. Because I don't know if Kashtira own a monster with 1500 or less attack. They're all level 7s.
I'm thinking of a Rise Heart. No, he has at least like 16, 17-ish.
Yeah, no, like all of them are level 7 or rank 7, so I think they all have big stats.
Well, Rise Heart's a 4, but that's because he's the Vsauce.
Yeah.
Or the Vsauce. Vsauce.
Okay, one of their Xyz monsters is 0 attack, so you could make it work. Thank you, Marth. But, like, in general, this is not a deck you play against, like, big bungus guys. Like, you don't do this against, like, Danger Dark World, you know, shit like that. This is for smaller shit. Like, I don't know, if your opponent tries to do that Ties of the Brethren thing we talked about and summon a barrier statue, all of those guys are, I think, 1,000, 1,000. You're just like, no.
Does this just kind of fuck up, Flu because it's face down?
Yeah, that would work on Flu, because they're all.
It also work on the runic summons.
It would, but again, Axe, your problem is that your opponent just plays their 9 other runic spells that fusion summon.
They just keep going. Yeah.
Yeah. Like I think I've negated. talked about this before. You negate one thing, and then suddenly it's just like, it doesn't matter. Keep going.
But yeah, so there's it's interesting, and I think it will see side deck play, but it is not a main decky card.
Good card for what it is.
And our next one, I mean, it's a new trap hole, so like I like that it doesn't like
covers a different
negate all future trap holes. You know, it's just they're doing something else. But now here's the big boy. So let me read out this full card name.
God, I actually like the way his armor looks. It's like fucking jumbly in a good way.
This is Ja Enteo Thestalos. Thestalos, the Shadow Firestorm Monarch. So
it's him wearing Kaios'
Yeah,
bits.
it's Thestakaios. It's very interesting this is a main deck monster. I guess it's because you don't run, Monarchs have this thing about no extra deck. But it's very funny. Yes, new Monarch Pog, everybody. Yes, that's right. In the 25th anniversary of Yu-Gi-Oh!, we have remembered Monarch support. Konami is doing things correctly.
I'm just looking at his stats. I'm like, wait a second, that's a normal Monarch.
No, he's also level 10. This is a whole new thing. I kind of hope they come up with a little bit more Monarch support in Duelist Nexus to make this work.
What was the name of the what is the Monarch? Who's the Empress of the Monarchs? I forget her name.
Aether?
Yeah, honestly, could they ever? I kind of want to see an Aether Erebus fusion.
Chaos Monarch? That would work. I think it'd be funny.
Because they're already doing like this is literally a Dark Fire.
Yeah, no, it's pretty cool. Okay, so this guy's a level 10 Fire Pyro monster, 3,000 attack, 1,000 defense. You can tribute summoning this card by tribute one monster your opponent controls and one tribute summon monster you control. So it has as Marth said, it's got a kaiju type effect, but basically it has Stormforth built in.
Honestly, it means you kaiju your opponent and then summon this from that.
Also true. Yeah, it just lets you get rid of the kaiju. 1, if this card is tribute summoned, banish a random card from your opponent's hand. If you do, inflict 1,000 damage to them. Then, if this card was tribute summoned by tributing a level 8 or higher monster, banish a card on the field. And if it's a fire or dark monster, inflict damage to your opponent equal to its original level times 200. So it's got Thestalos and Kaios' effect. Basically, it's random hand rip and
banishment.
Yeah, random banishment.
Honestly, the play in my head is you have Erebus or Aether on board. You kaiju your opponent, you summon this, and you go from there.
Yeah, I think you would play Radiant anyway in some Monarch decks, so make sure it is Radiant. That you could also go Dogoran, but you would probably play Radiant instead, because he's not super high attack stats. And then you do,
he crashes into Erebus. Yeah.
And then you just basically like banish a random card that does 1k always does 1k, and banishes a random card. And then if this card was treated by a level 8 or higher, you get to banish a monster or banish any one card on the field if it's a monster that's fire or dark. 2 damage to your opponent. So yeah, if this is our new wave of Monarchs is level 10
it just
Wombo
fits in the
combos.
Monarch deck, honestly. It just fits in.
No, it's good. Like I said, he's got Stormforth on legs, and he has 2 effects, both of which are, in our modern period, good. Hey, I would like to point out, neither of these are Destroy, and that's not a targeted banish.
It just happens.
That's just banish a card on the field. Fuck you. This is good. This is a good way to keep Monarchs, relevant.
It makes you you have to commit to the full Monarch deck, but Monarchs themselves are usually good. So,
but it means you have to play the Monarch cards, but it still has good energy. I appreciate this.
And I guess you also have to probably run more Kaijus just to do it more often. But yeah,
I mean, yeah, I think you run Kaijus in a Monarch deck just to control the board state anyway, because they're all big, But let me once again look at what's in Dune.
I honestly am curious. It's like, do you think they'd mix Ryza and Mobius or something?
That could be one, because that would be like the Froststorm Monarch.
That would be more of, honestly, I feel like that would be you, instead of
what's your
popping the back row, you send the back row on the top of the deck.
23. Oh, So, hey, so there, you know how card serial numbers work, right, guys? So every card is numbered, every set has a name and they have a number. So for instance, Duelist Nexus is Dune. So Dune 001 is Wheel Synchron, Dune 002, Revolution Synchron, etc. Then there's 4 blank numbers. Then there's like 07, twin-headed King Rex Dragon. King Rex the Dragon King, is 08. Da-da-da-da-da. Then there's like the 2 Infernal Knights, etc. And they go down the line, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, this guy, Thestalos, Big Thestalos, is 23. From 22 to 36, all blanks. We don't know any of those serial numbers.
We got rooms for for the entire set of monarchs.
This is I don't think it will be the entire set in one block, but they have quite a lot of free serial numbers, so there are probably more than one of these coming.
I just need to ask how many different kind of monarchs are there? Because if they're just gonna merge them all in they're all
let me pull up the list. We've done the Monarch Fail Portrayal before. Go look that up.
But I mean, now it's more Fearcrafted because I think I like monarchs, so why the fuck not? This is a fun space.
So let's see. We've done Caius and Thestalos. Well, there's one main deck, I believe, for every one normal, level 6 for every attribute. So that's 6.
Yeah, there's 6, and there's 2 lights because there's Kurez and
there's an extra light and 2 extra darks because there's Angmarl, Delg, and Kurez.
Right. There's also the Fiend one. Yeah.
That said, it's not that. The primary is you could probably see 3, so you would see like you said, maybe like Mobius and Grandmarg, or Mobius and Ryza. You could do Frost Storm.
Honestly, Grandmarg and Ryza.
The Rock Storm?
Yeah.
I don't think they'll do that because remember, it's Dark and Fire they mixed. I think they might shake that up a little.
Yeah, I think about the wheel, but yeah, it's like.
So Grandmarg and Mobius could be the. Well, that would be Frost Thunder. Because remember, it seems like
yeah, that's Borg.
I know, yeah. Kurez counts as extra because he's out there. Kurez is just light. Delg is just dark. Angmarl is fiendish, But Caius is Shadow. Yeah. Thestalos is Firestorm. So Zaborg plus Ryza would just be the Thunderstorm Monarch. I think that one works really good. You could do Grandmarg and Mobius. That's the Frost Rock or the Rock Frost.
The Glacier Monarch.
No, because remember that I'm saying this. Remember, Thestalos is translated as Thestalos the Shadow Firestorm. So it's like they are combining the 2 adjectives in their name.
Okay.
That does mean you could do the Fiendish Light Monarch. If you did Angmarl plus Kurez, you want to do that kind of shit. But there's at least 3. And if you want to do the level 8 Wombo combo, Aether is Heavenly, Erebus is Underworld. So you could do, Heavenly Underworld.
Or the Purgatorial, the Purgatory Monarch.
The Void Monarch. Yeah, there's some stuff there. I would not be surprised because they have those blank slots if we don't see 3 of these guys. I mean, that might make the vassals useful, because some of them are not good. We talked about that.
Because I feel like there's also the squires, but I feel like they don't need to be. I don't think you need to.
Well, there's 2 squires, and then there's a lot of vassals.
Yeah.
The squires, you don't really need a wombo combo. Adia and Eidos are just really good in general.
Yeah.
They're the good guys.
I mean, I guess if you had a third name that does it, that'd be nice, I guess.
Yeah, but it's the vassals are very hit or miss, if I remember our Fail Portrayal rightly. Anyway, hey, chat, go look up the Monarch Fail Portrayal. It's really cool. No, Caius and Thestalos came out very far apart, because Thestalos was like the first, if not one of the first. I think the first might have been
Mobius. Yes, he was the first.
And Caius is like not the last, but he was very late.
He was like second or third last.
Yeah, he was because
before the extra ones came in.
The structure deck.
It was 2008-ish, maybe. I forget.
Caius, when were you released? Caius the Shadow Monarch. Yes, Dark Emperor structure deck. So yeah, he was in the structure deck that this was about. So he was later. So they're kind of like there's some other wombo combos you could do in there, I think.
I enjoy when a card is designed well when it's it just slots right in.
Yeah.
Yep.
But we're at about 2.5 hours. We've run out of cards. We have one more solo mode left, chat. We're not doing it tonight because like I said, we're at least 2.5 hours in.
What is it?
It's Rika so far.
It'll just be interesting. There's at least a few varied designs there, I guess.
So
Rika.
That'll be some interesting card art to look at. That also won't be too long. It's possible by next week they'll release another solo mode, but if not, as I have announced, hey, that means that currently, if you haven't picked up on it, our theme is we're going through all the solo modes in Master Duel because it's really easy for SEO and marketing management. Once we've done Rika, we have done all the solo modes except for the World Legacy one, which has recently completed. You can watch me stream the last bit of it.
Or we could just do the SP Knights and then just do a bunch of random shit.
Nah.
That's fair.
That's anime shit we'll just do eventually anyway for like weird stuff.
That is fair.
And we're still doing, polls. I have not posted the bonus poll for Fail Portrayal yet, but I will. I need to talk to these guys about stuff.
Also, depending on if we do Road to Rika next time, there's also probably going to be more Nexus previews, which we could probably talk about.
Yeah, there may be more cards to yell about. There may be more, ban list news. I don't think we're due for a TCG ban list anytime soon. The OCG doesn't have one, but Master Duel does a ban list like twice a month.
Once or twice, it varies. Honestly, I don't know if Nexus is going to be like game changing, but it's going to make something like some fun road decks.
I mean, it's their first crack at this 25th anniversary set, like the actual like OCG cycle. So it's pretty solid. I'm down to clown with that.
I hope like they PM mods to like all like the big classic archetypes, I guess, over the years. Like
Duelist is the ones labeled Duelist are usually pretty good. This one is obviously Synchro themed because it's green as well. So like they got some stuff to cycle through.
Synchros and tributes, yeah. We don't even know what like the poster monster is it?
Yeah, we do. It's a Stardust. He's right there.
I more meant like we didn't know what it did.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure we know what that guy is.
Oh, okay. I just don't know what it is then.
You probably just don't remember. But I'm pretty sure that is... where is it? It's Cosmic Quasar, I think? Well,
Oh, okay.
Yugipedia is broken, so it doesn't have the card art, but I will search him, Google him, and make sure that's that guy. Yeah, no, that's Cosmic Quasar. He looks like this, chat. But yeah.
It's Quasar and then like...
Yeah, he's Cosmic and Quasar.
Yeah.
It just makes you think of like Quasar mixed with like... What am I gonna name its name? It's not the Speed Dragon. It's
whichever one is the Cosmic one.
I'm thinking of the level 7 wind one.
That's Stardust, but no, it's Cosmic Blazar and Quasar.
Oh, okay, because
are the two big ones. I mean, technically, I think it might have some aspects of...
Oh, yeah.
Not
it basically a Crystal Wing. It's basically somewhat like Crystal Wing, for some reason.
No, it really shouldn't. It has nothing to do with
Clear
Crystal
Wing. Yeah. Oh.
It would not be thematically related to that. It's much more likely to be... it's meant to be an homage, I think, to Blazer and Quasar. This is Cosmic Quasar.
I mean, yeah.
The other thing is... What the fuck is the small one? That's not Shooting Star Dragon. Shooting Riser?
Quasar.
Yeah, Shooting Riser is the level 7 one, yeah.
Quasar is big. I think it's Riser. Yeah, Mart says it's Riser. Because that's the level 7 little one. Or is he 6? Whatever. Anyway, the mats on Cosmic Quasar are like 1 tuner synchro plus 2 non-tuner synchros. So he's kind of weird to summon, but yeah, that's what the cover card is. Anyway, I'm here to look up Fail Portrayal stuff because you guys are here. I can just yell at Dallas sometime.
Yeah, and after this, we can probably just go do some more PvP in 14.
I don't know if I'm going to go do PvP, but I will be logging into 14 probably.
Let's do some ranked.
Why?
No.
You're just going to make it worse on yourself.
It doesn't, like, it's the same.
You know what?
No, I assume the people are going to be more tryhard and ranked.
You can do ranked.
But
we
do need another Fail
ranked,
Portrayal, so I need to talk to you guys about stuff. Obviously, Red Eyes got picked, so technically everybody could just leave where they were. Dallas could say Gimmick Puppet again, which he probably will.
I mean, I'm not changing
Marth
mine
said
because
heroic?
I
Yeah, you're still about... Dallas is here at the very end.
Hey, Dallas, we're wrapping up.
Well, Dallas can tell me if he wants to do Gimmick Puppets again.
Yes, I do want to do Gimmick
Okay,
Puppets.
I figured. So that'll stay. Marth can let me know if he wants to keep Heroic. Loft, do you want to keep Sprite? That was number 2. That got 6.
Oh, god
Or
damn
3
it.
votes.
Nah, I'm not gonna keep it.
We'll save Sprite for we do Albaz.
Well, we will eventually get there, but we could do it early. And so Axe is keeping Spiral.
And Marv did bottling box in the chat.
Yeah, fuck it. Give me time. I'll think of something.
All right. You don't have to say it right now. All right.
I mean, you could do Malefics again. We haven't done Malefics.
I gotta think of mine.
Yeah, I can be very low in the polls again, Axe.
Hey, I'm sticking with Gimmick Puppet, and I think I got 1 vote.
I don't think Malefic got any votes.
It's gotten votes sometime, but
We haven't done Thunder either, but like,
well, that's gonna be you.
That'll be my backup later. So.
I know.
Honestly, Axe, I will just be like, it's a dragon. It's another goddamn dragon.
I mean,
dragon has feathers. It's a
fine.
dragon.
I think
Thunder's very weird aesthetically. I mean, if Loth wants to go there, Loth, you could just say Phantasm Spiral.
We should have spell traps.
Sure.
No, you know what? I want to do my actual like dream archetype. I don't care. No one's gonna vote for Gimmick Puppet or this anyway.
All right, what do you want then?
Put me down for Ancient Warriors.
Okay, you might be shocked. You might be shocked.
Yeah,
I think we got some Ancient Warrior guys.
No one really talks about them besides like 2 of their cards.
But you know, there's some people in chat who are repping some Ancient Warriors. We'll put that on the list. Okay, and then I got to think of me. Loth needs to think of his.
And I could yell at everyone about pronunciation.
I might just pick.
One thing you're good at.
Oh, man, I still remember as a kid just going, we can't call him Cow Cow anymore.
We cannot call him Cowpea.
Yeah.
Another suggestion for Loth, you could go, because we've already done Ancient Gears, you could go Gaia. There's a lot of Gaia cards.
A lot of Gaia cards, like, holy shit.
We could do Gaia, just to...
You know, throw it on this nostalgia bait. The structure deck just came out in Master Duel.
It did.
But we have time to think. Dallas has missed all the stuff. He missed Mutant. He doesn't care about missing Starry Knight.
There wasn't much there.
And I mean, he might be Dallas. No, he not might. Dallas will be pleased to hear that Duelist Nexus is going to have new monarchs. Thestalos, the Shadow Firestorm monarch.
We just covered one, and it just fits right in the deck.
I mean, I'm glad to see it get support. I hope they branch out in strategy.
Well, this guy's level 10 and has a different stat line, so...
Also incentivizes
does he have a lockdown effect, is my question.
No.
Kinda.
He doesn't floodgate.
My biggest problem with Monarchs is their optimal quote-unquote build is very lockdown heavy.
No, this seems to be going different. He's like 3 removals because he is a Stormforth himself.
Oh, okay.
He tributes an opponent's monster and a tribute summon monster you control to summon him.
See,
so conjure your opponent and then we'll go work off that.
Also, if he's tribute summoned, he banishes a random card from your opponent's hand and does 1k damage to them. And then if it's tribute summoned by tributing a level 8 or higher monster, you can banish a card on the field. And if that was a fire or dark monster, you can inflict damage to your opponent equal to its level times 200.
That's the shit I like, where it's like, give more removal, like, tools.
Yeah.
I don't like the, like, Monarch Stormforth, haha, we sit here.
Yeah. This is it's tribute a guy, also randomly hand rip a card, and do burn damage, and then do a non-targeting banish, which could also be more burn. So, like,
What
it's
else
branching
is
out.
in Duelist Nexus? Hold on.
A lot of stuff. We were just talking about that while we were working through it.
I'm gonna look.
No. Well, you showed up as the stream is ending, anyway.
Yeah, we're wrapping up here. That's a good point, Zed. I mean, I could pick Charmers.
Oh yeah, Charmers. You know what? Fuck it, Charmers.
All right, Loth says Charmers. I'll figure out what my pick is, and I'll post the poll for patrons tonight after we're off stream, because I think I got everybody's
because I
theirs.
think it's not Omega, you're not going to vote for it?
All right, okay.
I mean,
I think that is everything, though. So we can round out here. Remember, next week, Rika. Also, tune in tomorrow for Final Fantasy XIV on this channel. Tune in Thursday for more Resident Evil 4 Remake. I've talked Lucky into doing more streams because he wants to play more.
Yes.
By talked in, really, I just said, Lucky, I don't mind if you stream on Thursday. And he was like, really? And I'm like, no. Because he wants to play more. He's like, fuck yeah. So if you want to stay caught up on that, go back and watch Monday's RE4 stream. That's everything I got to say. Don't forget to do your usual likes and comments and subscribes. Check us out on Patreon at the $5 and up level. You can vote in the Fail Portrayal poll monthly. Last month we picked Red Eyes, so, you know, we got a lot of fun here. That's everything.
Sorry,
go ahead.
Omega gained so many mental points that day. You've gained so much mental HP.
That's it was real fun, and it did good. It was a good video, so we can continue to post good videos together. That's all I got. Good night, everybody.
Take care.
What caused good mental damage? Sorry.